taxpayer dollars. On the other hand, it will pay dividends for taxpayers for the city of Chicago for generations and decades to come.
The plan was approved earlier in the day by the City Council that will transform Terminal 2 into a global terminal, add more gates, and provide new state-of-the-art security and technology. A Chicago Fire Department lieutenant's accused of punching a colleague in a far south side fire station. Police say Leonard Johnson hit another firefighter in the face during a dispute yesterday morning at a fire station in the 1700 block of West 95th Street. A Cook County judge is planning to begin the murder trial of Chicago police officer Jason Van Dyke this summer. Judge Vincent Gahn made the announcement during a hearing yesterday. He didn't give a specific date. The state's 2 U.S. senators say there could be some federal money to help fight the Legionnaires' outbreak at the Veterans Home in Quincy. Tammy Duckworth and Dick Durbin say there's no specific line item for Illinois, but there is as much as $500 million set aside for state-based veterans homes. In sports, the baseball season opens today. John Lester takes the mound for the Cubs in Miami late this morning. James Shields on the hill for the White Sox today in Kansas City. Elsewhere, the Bulls are in Miami. The Blackhawks host the Winnipeg Jets. In news, the service of Firestone Complete Auto Care. Head into Firestone Complete Auto Care through April 2nd and get $60 on a Visa prepaid card by mail when you purchase a set of 4 eligible Firestone tires. Whatever you drive, drive a Firestone. Restrictions and exclusions apply. DriveAFirestone.com is where you should visit. AM 560 News Time 5:04. Traffic in 2 minutes on AM 560, The Answer.
On AM 560, The Answer. Your opinion counts. And we want to know how you feel about the news stories we're talking about each and every day. Make sure to vote in the M13 Graphics Opinion Express poll at 560theanswer.com. Listen for today's poll question at 10:30 a.m., 12:30 p.m., and 3:30 p.m. and hear the results each evening at 5:30. It's the M13 Graphics Opinion Express poll on 560theanswer.com.
I was just reading the obituaries, and you know Bob from down the street?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, his lawnmower died.
Should we send flowers?
No, Karen, it's a lawnmower. We should send Mechanic in a Bottle.
This spring, if your lawn equipment doesn't start right up, get Mechanic in a Bottle. You don't need to remove the carburetor or, worse, pay someone else to do it. Mechanic in a Bottle will clean the fuel system and have your lawn equipment running within minutes. Available at the Home Depot, Tractor Supply, and Walmart, or visit mechanicinaBottle.com. Trusted by engine and equipment manufacturers everywhere.
Ed, get in here and shut the door.
What's up, boss?
What's up? You have to ask, Ed?
Yes, sir, usually, sir.
Ed, you're naked as a jaybird.
Correctamundo, sir, just as you ordered.
I what?
You told us Jimmy John's was going all natural, sir.
No, Ed, I told you our meats are now all natural.
Huh?
That's meats, Ed, not employees.
Oh, I get it now. It's our meats that are all natural.
Yes, Ed. Wood smoked ham, choice roast beef, real fresh turkey breast, all natural and freaky fresh.
How embarrassing.
No kidding. It's a good thing I got to you before your first delivery.
Yeah, well, I already spread the word, sir, and...
Naked? Oh, no.
He's what? Naked?
Naked.
He's naked.
The expensive mattress you're considering buying is a waste of money because it isn't customized to you. Hi, I'm Christian von Rickenbach, founder of HelixSleep.com, the only place to get a customized mattress starting at just $600. Just go to HelixSleep.com, fill out our 2-minute sleep survey, and we'll design a mattress made just for you with a 100-night sleep trial and financing as low as 0%. For a limited time, get $50 off your mattress order when you go to HelixSleep.com/talkradio. That's HelixSleep.com/talkradio.
Hey, Craig and Leslie here from In the Know. A great ball player doesn't just hit home runs. He puts the ball in play or gets on base every time he can. And that's what we want to do for you so that you can be ready for your postseason play.
No, Sunday mornings at 10 right here on AM 560, The Answer.
At 5:07 from the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center, here's Dominic Fortini.
A couple of early morning problems inbound side of the makeovers and stylish room designs. Prepare to win at Business. Book now at LQ.com. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Dominic Fortini on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer starts next, but now the forecast with meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
A little rain into the early parts of the afternoon today. Wind gusts up to 30 miles per hour with a high approaching 50. Tonight it will be partly to mostly cloudy through the night with a low 33. Sun and some clouds tomorrow, high 50. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
39 at the lakefront, 46 in Midway, 45 degrees at O'Hare. Next news, 5:30. Get continuous coverage of the latest news, traffic, and weather at 560theanswer.com. Chicago's Morning Answer starts now on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 on your mobile device. Now available on iHeartRadio. Online at iHeartRadio.com.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan. And in for Amy this morning is, yes, Sean from Elmwood Park.
That's right. Sound a little more excited about it.
I'm showing my range. I spent the last 2 days with intellectual heavyweights, clarity of thought, insights into the human condition, how a civil society should be ordered. And now I'm with a crackpot conspiracy theorist, just to show my range.
Yeah. I listened to that show, by the way. A couple of segments. It was about as exciting as going to the prom with your sister. But go ahead, I got it.
Tell me
you
more.
two were too similar. What
I
was
never
Scott?
I never went to the prom,
Yeah.
so you tell me what that's like.
Real shocker.
Yeah.
So you and Scott with your kazoo heads levitating around the studio,
Mhm.
talking down to us. We all got it.
It's not talking down to no. I have to talk down to you. I don't talk down to the audience because I expect my audience to be intelligent and up to speed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
A lot of them are Illinois Republicans, but
You-
all right.
You would do but that's the small subset that actually has firing synapses.
Fair enough.
You would do well for a weekend up at Hillsdale College or 4 or 5 years.
Well, you soft shoot them a little bit. You had Stephen Moore on. I was listening. And you talked about the Von Mises Library,
Yeah.
which I'm assuming you walked through.
Yeah, that's a library within the library.
But neither you nor Scott were explaining to me in the Von Mises Library where the targeted tariff section was.
Yeah, well.
Nobody was talking about the actual details. So that's okay. You never know.
All right, I got a question for you. Being the kind of the working class Johnny Punch Clock type of guy that you are.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Roseanne Barr show, the Roseanne revival. You whipped into a lather about it. Did you watch Roseanne the first time around?
I caught.
Oh, jeez, doesn't it?
I did. I'm going to tell you something. I like John Goodman.
Like fingernails on a chalkboard.
I like John Goodman. You like? I mean,
I
really
like John
do.
Goodman as an actor. I never watched Roseanne. I find the whole thing sort of insufferable and a bit of a cartoonish caricature of the quote-unquote working class American family.
Yeah, but to a
I
certain
find her sort of, like a Kafka-esque representation of a housewife.
But you have to be able to separate your feelings for her performance, right?
Okay.
So now I could do it with Tom Cruise. I don't like Tom Cruise as a person.
You liked him in
but
Top
I
Gun.
love. Kidding me?
You
Still
fell in
got
lo-
my leather jacket with
You
all
f-
the patches. I look phenomenal in it.
You fell in love with him in Top Gun.
Same thing with Matt Damon. Can't stand him as a person. Love him as an actor.
You fell in love with him in Good Will Hunting.
How do you like those apples?
Yeah.
Now Roseanne Barr.
You fell in
she's a
love with her,
crackpot.
speaking of apples. You fell in love with her in Roseanne, in the show.
But I like her in.
So you watched the show?
I not religiously, but I've seen it.
Okay.
Yes, I'm I'm 50 years old. I was around during that whole thing.
Well,
when
I
it-
understand. That's why I asked.
I look better. I only have one chin too. There. Yeah.
Well, for both Roseanne and John Goodman, for that matter. Her premiere, the revival premiere on Tuesday night.
I read all about it.
18 million viewers. That's almost as much as Stormy Daniels got in 60 Minutes. So this apparently is a solution to a programming problem out there. We need more Roseanne Barr, and I guess sort of this idea that this is a working class family representation. Mm-hmm. So now it's being folded into our politics because Roseanne on the show is a Trump supporter. And so she's being asked, somewhat in character, somewhat not, as they're doing the rounds promoting the show on all these talk shows. How can you, your character, be a Trump supporter? And she's sort of in character sometimes and not in character other times. Like when she spoke to the New York Times and she literally talked about Trump's positions as an American citizen, not as a sitcom character, and talked about how he's for the liberal social policies like trans rights and.
Well, she's a vociferous Trump supporter for the last year, right? I mean, to some extent.
Yeah, well, that's the whole thing. It's measured. It's to some extent, but it's to the extent of I'm a supporter of his where he, I guess, is some sort of Rorschach ink plot for working class Americans who voted for him, number one, and then number two, where he's in line with the left in terms of policy.
So he's the perfect candidate for her.
Well, but but there's a certain thing going on with, I think, where people are suggesting, this is kind of Hollywood striking back for Trump with this Roseanne character as a Trump supporter. And I see this as more being led down the road of the Trump supporter being caricatured.
I don't take it
by
that
the Roseanne.
I don't take it that personally. What I see is that it's indicative to what's happening in a lot of households today. For instance, a lot of real households have sister-in-laws and sisters and brothers that vehemently are anti-Trumpers.
No question.
And a lot of them have those people, those Union Democrats, that agree with Trump on the national populism, on the America First, on the shtick that is Trump. So I think you're seeing a time where you're seeing families that at one time had common ground are now being separated because you have the ideological social warriors and you have that protectionist. I think it is a working class citizen's knee-jerk reaction to be a protectionist. I think that's where his sympathy lies.
Well, yeah, okay, but maybe Trump has brought these in familial divisions to the fore. But the idea that those differences of opinion didn't exist prior to this or prior to what's been happening in our culture over the last 30 years, of course they did.
You're right.
So the idea this is some kind of referendum on Trump and everything is about whether you're for Trump or against Trump on every issue all the time, I find sort of one-dimensional and silly. But here was Roseanne on The View yesterday, speaking of one-dimensional and silly, talking about Roseanne, the character, as a Trump supporter.
Well, I wanted to show an accurate depiction of our country. People are really, I know so many families, that are divided over the election still, and they still, are fighting and stuff. So we wanted to show that and how our family deals with it. And we all have the hope that people will start talking to each other again, because that's what we need.
Yeah. But I think, Dan, I
don't know. That's like a View applause line. I don't know what that means. People start talking to one another again.
Oh yeah, you're right with the line. But here's the issue at hand. I think that since Reagan, since Bush Sr., the cut's just been getting deeper, and each presidency makes it deeper and deeper and deeper. And I think it was exaggerated under Obama. And I think that you keep. I want to remember that all I heard was the lesser of two evils. So in essence, what you have in the White House is somebody you forced a great amount of people to vote for by playing the lesser of two evils. So you've got people that reluctantly supported him.
Well,
and
of course.
The
idea of reluctantly supporting two candidates, the both of whom you have major issues with, that started in 2016 is absurd.
It didn't start. I think it started after Reagan. But my point is, I think
it occurred before Reagan. It occurred after Reagan. It's occurred in races up and down the ballot for as long as the republic has been in existence. Again, this idea like we're at the beginning of history or at the culmination of some history with Trump versus Hillary Clinton. No, we're at the culmination of the cultural choices we made.
Well, I think it's also the largest percentage. The largest. I'm very confident saying this. The largest percentage of voters for that candidate held their nose and did it anyway. So I think immediately after there was a situation where the strife was there immediately after the election. I really do believe.
Well, the strife was there. There's no question. And but just with this kind of, and it'll take your calls 312-642-5600 Turnkey.pro answer line 64636DA Turnkey.pro text line, and this kind of Roseanne, this Roseanne being celebrated as a Trump representation in Hollywood. I just think you're walking yourselves into an ambush by Hollywood, including by the writers on Roseanne, as much as they're the way they talk about the Sarah Gilbert, who is one of the characters on the show. The daughter.
I don't remember him specifically.
Well, she was on The View with Goodman and Barr talking about the show, and they act like they're sociologists now. That they did everything to just get this pitch perfect, get this right in terms of who the American working class family is. And so they offer some truisms about what's been happening to middle America, middle and lower middle income families over the past 20 years. but that doesn't necessarily mean they're advancing their interests or telling their story accurately.
The people in the Connors situation would be making less money now than they were then, and that's without even factoring inflation in.
Yeah.
And that's 20 years ago. So we wanted to make sure going in that we're accurately representing the struggle of the middle class.
But you know what's a real joke? I was on the phone last night with a dear friend of mine. We started out, we were runners together at the Mercantile Exchange. He had no money, did very well progressively, built a house in Oak Brook. I'm just giving you an example of how deceptive this is, this pitch. Built a house in Oak Brook, sold it last year for that's 20 years ago. He built the house.
Right.
Sold it last year for the same money it cost to build it. So here is that upper echelon that
Taking
everyone
a
says.
hammering.
Not only that, his average taxes, were $15,000 a year. So who lost more? The middle class represented by the Roseanne Barrs of the world, or the guy who tried and struggled and employed people and now, for the most part, is living in memories of what he used to make?
Well, and so that's the story, though, of a government taking. And the one-dimensional argument and representation that's made in these sitcoms is, where was the government to help these working lower to middle income families climb the economic and socioeconomic ladder? And the point is to say the institution they're looking at as some kind of solution, the salvation that abandoned them, right? Yeah, has committed them to the stasis over the last 20 years. And of course, that's not told either. And to the extent that story is not told, is the extent that we can be talking to one another and not saying anything of particular import.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
So I must do the weather again, and we all know how much I love it. And here's an example of why it's ridiculous. Today, I'm handed the sheet. Rain likely. Well, I was out already, and my hair is wet. Rain definitely. And it's happening. They say it's going to end up at 10 a.m., otherwise cloudy with a temperature rising around 43. And then it's going to fall 38. It's going to be a sick day. Wear your little raincoat. Tonight, mostly cloudy with a low around 34. I mean, it's almost April, for God's sakes. Illinois is just terrible. And it wants me to go all the way to Sunday. Here's the thing about Sunday. It's only going to be 36. So you're going to have 5 days of garbage, and you'll be lucky if you don't get sick. Now let's go to, it's not
Can we get the weather guy from the Family Guy who just says it's raining, and then we move to traffic?
This is not, it's not Jim Telemonte. It's, what's the weather guy's name? It's like a martini. Fortini. It's Fortini. There he is.
Things looking good so far, despite the rainy conditions. Inbound Kennedy at 20 minutes in from O'Hare. 10 in from the Junction 8 and the inbound Express. Looks like outbound they cleared up that earlier crash near Kimball and you're delay-free. 20 minutes downtown out to O'Hare. Inbound Ryan, 18 minutes, 95th in. Inbound Bishop Ford begins to slow at Cottage Grove. But everything else all right. Traffic answers when you need them the most. I'm Dominic Fortini on AM 560, The Answer.
One of the least glamorous pieces of the puzzle in a construction or home improvement project is getting rid of the waste. It's definitely the last thing contractors or homeowners want to deal with, but it's a necessity. Getting affordable dumpster service quickly to a construction site can be difficult, but it doesn't have to be. For hassle-free dumpster service, contact Midwest Companies. They're focused on dumpster services that will help keep your project safe, clean, and on schedule. Midwest Companies takes care of contractors in need of a dumpster that's strong enough for heavy material and the homeowner doing a home improvement project, garage, basement foreclosure, or estate clean-out. For a company that's built a great reputation with local contractors and residents by providing fast, efficient dumpster service at a competitive price, consult with Midwest Companies for a no hidden fee quote. For new customers and a limited time, get $50 off your first service. Midwest Companies. Online at mwcompanies.com. mwcompanies.com.
I was diagnosed with diabetic. High blood pressure.
High cholesterol.
Terrible acid reflux.
Are you sick and tired of being sick and tired? Wouldn't you rather be healthy, energetic, and fit? I'm Dennis Black. 10 years ago here in Dallas, I developed a Texas-sized solution to America's health crisis.
TexasSuperfood.com.
I make my Texas Superfood from 55 raw, vine-ripened fruits and vegetables.
Alfalfa leaf, aloe vera, apples, asparagus, raspberry, spinach, all of the nutrients.
You know, it's been barely a week, and already my skin is better.
I lost 60 pounds. I mean, that's huge.
Since I've been on superfood, I haven't been sick.
It's borderline shocking how much energy I have.
Thousands of people take my Texas Superfood every day. Join us on TexasSuperfood.com.
TexasSuperfood.com.
Or call 877-55-TEXAS. That's 877-55-TEXAS. 877-55-TEXAS. Or
TexasSuperfood.com.
Hey, Radioland, Ken here from Income Store. Did you know making money is like a combination lock? If you know the numbers and the proper order of the numbers, it has to open. The lock doesn't know or care if you're 8 or 80 years old. It has to open. Making money is the same way. When you know the steps and know the right order for the steps, revenue generation has to happen. As we like to say at Income Store, if you know the steps to take and you take the steps, revenue will be created. For close to a decade, we have proved to thousands of households and businesses that adding an additional revenue stream is not magic or luck. Both Forbes and Inc. praise Income Store as a can't miss when it comes to creating revenue for a home or business. If you'd like to see exactly how anyone from a teenager with more time than money to an executive with more money than time can add a revenue stream to their home or business, just open one of the 2 entry doors you'll find at IncomeStore.com. That's IncomeStore.com.
When the need for senior care arises, there's no place like home. Your loved ones should never have to give up living at home. Visiting Angels will provide home care for your mom or dad at home up to 24 hours per day, including personal care, meals, and light housework. You'll select your professional caregiver with Visiting Angels. Look up visitingangels.com or call 877-374-LIVE. That's 877-374-LIVE. Franchises are available. Visiting Angels, America's choice in senior home care.
Build a better basket at your local CVS pharmacy, where it's easy to find everything you need and the sweet deals you want. This week only, fill their baskets with Cadbury mini eggs, Hershey Easter Kisses eggs and miniatures, just 2 for $5. Then fill yours with savings on hundreds of cosmetics like Revlon and Almay, all buy one, get one 50% off. Restrictions apply. See cvs.com/weekly ad for details. Feel good? Save money at your neighborhood CVS pharmacy.
AM 560, The Answer.
And now here's Ollie Williams with the Blackie weather forecast. Ollie?
It's gonna rain!
Thanks, Ollie.
Imitate that guy. Dan, and in for Amy this morning is Sean from Elmwood Park. And did you see the story about the Virginia Tech girls lacrosse team, Sean?
No, I don't keep up on my girls lacrosse.
You should, especially ACC, because that's where all the action is in women's lacrosse and lacrosse generally, actually. But here's the thing. So they won a lacrosse match on Saturday. They're in the bus ride home, and they start singing the lyrics to this song by one of your favorite artists, Lil Dicky. Yeah. The song Freaky Friday. You sing along if you
Dick
want.
Dick Durbin is a rapper?
Just sing along if you'd like.
'Cause I'm that I woke up in Chris Brown's body.
You get it.
Got a terrible beat, and I can't dance to it.
Right, and the word that was bleeped out is the N-word.
Neighbor?
No.
All right.
The girls' lacrosse team started singing that song, singing the lyrics in a celebratory mood on the bus, and this is how that went. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm a parent, and I have to say, I can't stand teenagers. I can't stand them. I mean, not a dumber group of people are there in the, except maybe the senior who's arguing at Panera in line for his coffee, 5 people behind you. These are the 2 groups of people I could personally do without.
Well, they got in trouble for this video being made public that has them singing the lyrics to this song that include the N-word, and they sang that lyric. They sang that word. And so now they're all apologetic. We're trying to do where it's right. We're not sweeping it under the rug. The team's extremely sorry. We're trying to make it right.
Yeah, put together by the lawyers. There's one father that's a lawyer wrote that apology.
Well, is it inappropriate for a bunch of, from what I saw in the video, white girls on the lacrosse team to sing the actual lyrics to an actual rap song that's actually consumed, that was actually produced? Is that wrong? Is that out of bounds? Can they not do that? the N-word repugnant, and I don't think it ever needs to be used, including in rap music. But once you break the seal, are you going to be surprised when people follow along, imitate?
Well, all I keep thinking about is I took the bus in high school as a kid. And if your mother or father caught you doing that when I was a kid, the meanest dad of them all would have grabbed you by the ear and slapped the tongue out of your mouth. You can't do that anymore. So I'm going to tell you something. I want to know how they got in trouble. Who's the one that got them in trouble? And I want to see how many of the parents of these spoiled little brats with their iPhone 10s and their Uber accounts, how many of the fathers and mothers are defending the kid? Because this is one thing where they should be standing united with the school. And I'll bet you $1 to a donut, because I've associated in and out of these little groups where the parents are defending the kid instead of standing there and saying, listen, you were dead wrong, you spoiled little brat, and I want you to apologize without a written statement from our attorney.
All right, so it's wrong for them to sing those songs.
Come on, do we really?
When you were on the...
It's rhetorical, isn't it?
When you played powder puff football in high school and you'd be on the bus back home.
Couldn't have lasted through a scrimmage.
What you guys, did you say, like, don't give it...
We shot craps in the back. I took everybody's money.
What song did you sing, though? Don't, like, Joan Jett, Don't Give a Damn About My Bad Reputation?
Yeah.
Or what did you sing, you
Pat
girls?
Benatar was big. Pat Benatar, I had my little headband on, sure.
Shadows of the Night?
Yeah.
That was your team song?
That was it. That was it.
All right. So are you going to let your girl... You have 2 teenage girls. Are you going to let them go to Virginia Tech and play lacrosse?
I have 2 teenage girls, and if Virginia Tech is as far from my house as it sounds, then yes. I don't care. Yeah.
He is John from Elmwood Park, and I am not. And coming up at 5:38, Trump is in more trouble than he thinks after signing that omnibus spending bill. Turns out the hits keep on coming. We'll talk about them after we check the headlines with Dave Stewart.
Thank you, Dan. Good morning. It's 45 degrees in Chicago at 5:30 on AM 560. The Answer. We'll see a little afternoon rain and a high of 49. President Trump is forcing Veterans Affairs Secretary David Shulkin out. Mark Mayfield reports.
He'd recently come under fire for a trip to Europe last year that his wife attended on the taxpayer's dime. Trump says he's going to nominate his personal doctor, Admiral Ronnie Jackson, for the role. On Twitter, Trump said he was thankful for Shulkin's service to the country and our great veterans. Mark Mayfield, NBC News Radio.
White House News Secretary Sarah Sanders dodging questions about the Sacramento police shooting of an unarmed black man.
The president's very supportive of law enforcement, but at the same time, in these specific cases, in these specific instances, those would be left up to local authorities to make that determination and not something for the federal government to weigh into.
Stephon Clark was shot to death in his grandmother's backyard earlier this month when police thought his cell phone was a gun. His funeral is today. Uber settling with the family of an Arizona woman who was killed by a self-driving car. The law firm of the family of Elaine Hertzberg has reportedly said they've reached an agreement with Uber. Former Chicago Public School CEO Paul Vallas is running for mayor. Multiple news outlets report Vallas will file his official bid with the State Board of Elections Monday. An investigation is underway after a woman was carjacked at the Oak Brook Center Mall in Oak Brook. Police say the victim was sitting in a Honda Civic in the mall parking garage yesterday morning when another car blocked her in, and an armed man stole her purse and then her car. City of Chicago is putting its weight behind a $300 million plan to keep the Asian carp out of the Great Lakes. Mayor Emanuel says the city will back the recommendation from the Great Lakes Basin Partnership to beef up the barriers at the Brandon Lock and Dam near Joliet. In sports, baseball season opens today. John Lester on the hill for the Cubs in Miami late this morning. James Shields takes the ball for the White Sox today in Kansas City. Bulls are in Miami. Blackhawks host the Winnipeg Jets. The news is service of Firestone Complete Auto Care. Head into Firestone Complete Auto Care through April the 2nd and get $60 on a Visa prepaid card by mail when you purchase a set of 4 eligible Firestone tires. Whatever you drive, drive a Firestone. Restrictions and exclusions apply. Visit driveafirestone.com. AM 560 News Time, 5:33. Traffic in 2 minutes on AM 560, The Answer.
Mike Gallagher sees a president annoyed with the Russia investigation.
The president is clearly frustrated. The president is clearly disappointed. The president is clearly antsy to get this thing over with. If you've got proof of some kind of collusion, establish it already. Do it. All this other stuff is a distraction.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Taste the difference of skilled gaucho chefs at Fogo de Chão Brazilian Steakhouse, where every cut is expertly prepared. Reserve today in Chicago, Rosemont, and Naperville at fogo.com.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tom, and I'll be your server tonight. Just to let you in on some of the specials that we currently have. First is a wild-caught heart disease served on top of a bed of onset diabetes with an arthritis dressing. Second, we have our chef special. It is a sautéed obesity served 2 ways with a side of gastrointestinal issues. Anyway, can I go ahead and get you guys started with some drinks?
I don't think we're hungry anymore. Thanks, though.
At Calitrin, we don't believe in drugs or stimulants, but rather products that are powerful and connect us to the natural world. That's why Calitrin is 100% all natural and the #1 choice for healthy weight loss for over 20 years.
Hi, I'm Danny, and I'd like to say that I lost 8 pounds while I'm on Calitrin.
My name is Linda, and I've been on Calitrin now for about a year, and I've lost 48 pounds, and it's helped my arthritis, so I really recommend Calitrin.
Visit us at toploss.com or call 1-833-TOP-LOSS.
At 5:34 from the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center, here's Dominic Fortini.
Rain could be slowing things down when traffic volume picks up, but so far so good across most of our Chicago area expressways. Inbound Ike, though, got a new crash at Manheim. Watch for delays Ashland through the Burn Circle, 31 minutes in from Thorndale, 18 in from Manheim. Inbound Stevenson starts to slow at Harlem with a few minor delays on the inbound Ryan right near the Stevenson, 20 minutes in from 95th, while the inbound side of the Bishopport gets hung up right near 111th. Traffic service of La Quinta Inns and Suites. How do business travelers win on the road? By staying at La Quinta Inns and Suites. Relax with contemporary lobby makeovers and stylish room designs. Prepare to win at business. Book now at lq.com. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Dominic Fortini on AM 560. The Answer.
More of Chicago's Morning Answer next, but now the forecast. Cloudy, breezy, a little rain into the early afternoon today, a high of 49. Partly to mostly cloudy tonight, low 33. Tomorrow, partly sunny with a high of 50. Right now, 45 degrees at O'Hare. Next news, 6 o'clock. Get continuous coverage of the latest news, traffic, and weather at 560theanswer.com. Now more of Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 on your mobile device. Now available on iHeartRadio. Online at iHeartRadio.com.
Let freedom ring this afternoon at 2 with Sean Hannity, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan, and in for Amy this morning, Sean from Elmwood Park. Sean got an email about your... I received an email about your daughter's college education. Tell Sean he should send his kids to Virginia Tech because it's so hard to get to and from Blacksburg, and he'll never see them again. So that's that. But apparently, that's one of the Virginia Tech's recruiting tools.
I like when I just prune the audience before, rather than them insult me at every turn. But go ahead.
Tim in Naperville, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, Dan, enjoy your show. Just got to tell you that this video with these girls singing this song with the N-word, how come we go after the white girls that sing it? Why don't we go after the radio stations that play it and the rapper that sings it? Where's Al Sharpton now? Why doesn't he go after them? How come it's always the white people that get in trouble when we repeat what the black people say? I don't get it.
All right, thanks for the call, Tim. I mean, the response to that is obviously the context matters and the history of the word and its usage matters, and I understand all that, but I also understand your point that anybody using that word and using that word for essentially entertainment purposes, is that debasing the culture or enhancing it? And I would suggest Lil Dicky's
have you seen
musical offerings are not enhancing it.
So when I get home, sometimes I pick up the kids from school and I go home, and sometimes my wife will have on TMZ. Mm-hmm. So I actually, when you said the name, I kind of remembered seeing him. Have you seen these kids, these rapper kids? First of all, they're little punks.
And one other thing too. These rap stars are not multi-cajillionaires without white kids buying their product. So, hey, if the white kids don't understand, then they shouldn't consume it. The rap stars, no, they're appealing to the broad youth market. They want everybody to consume it because that's how they make as much money as they make.
Well, and the other thing too is a lot of them are fronted the money by their own producers and their own people in the Jay-Z's of the world and the other moguls. They front them the money at high interest loans, and they really never end up rich. The people just end up owning them.
Well, either way, I mean, this is not meant to be just for the kind of urban market, if you will. This is meant to be consumed broadly, of course.
And the more controversial they are, the more face tattoos they have, the worse their reputation, the better their sales. So we have this nuanced duality going on, and it really, when to the caller's point, when our kids chime in on it, then all of a sudden it's terrible, terrible, terrible. If that would have been a bus full of African-American kids singing that song, would this even be news?
Right. Right. And the point, again, is I don't care what Lil Dicky looks like. I have no idea. But his art? Although the good news for Lil Dicky and artists like him is that the NEA's budget grew under the omnibus bill signed by President Trump, advanced by House and Senate Republicans, this $1.3 trillion spending bill. And this is, you want to talk about Trump alienating his base. This is the base of the base.
Well, they had to pass it to see what's in it.
And I'm not talking about Ann Coulter here. I'm talking about AVIAC. This is the organization for victims of illegal alien crime, advocates for victims of illegal alien crime.
Yeah.
Friends of the show, including Brian McCann, who lost his brother Dennis in Chicago. Eric Brady, who lost his wife Jeannie in Mahomet down by Champaign. Members of this organization, we've talked to them before. We've told their stories. They sent an open letter to President Trump that starts, "How could you?" ? So this is obviously border security, immigration reform, the rule of law as it pertains to immigration, central to Trump's candidacy. It's been a central theme of his presidency. And he, to his credit, elevated the profile of victims' families who have been violated, victimized by persons who should not be in this country, predators. How could you, after 2 years of railing against all the bad deals made by prior administrations, you top them all? Many board members of AVIAC not only supported your candidacy, but traveled with you, appeared on stage with you, spoke at the RNC with you, as you promised at every stop to reverse the insidious policies that have allowed millions of illegal aliens to invade our country. With the stroke of a pen, you made it worse. An increase in ICE agents who would predominantly concentrate at the workplace enforcement, gone. More detention space to stop the absurd catch-and-release program of the Obama administration. Not just gone, but actually less space has been funded. Invariably, this will lead to a greater number of unaccompanied minors crossing the border, as more will be released, blending into the population, never to be seen again. Money for the wall? Not a dime, but maybe you can build a beautiful picket fence. Money for sanctuary cities? No problem. We wouldn't want to cramp their style, protecting and providing services to illegal aliens and making sure that they protect criminals from deportation. Your excuse that you had to sign the omnibus bill for national security reasons is as empty as the claim of sanctuary cities that they need to protect criminals to reduce crime. I mean, hammering.
Welcome to the party. I mean, this is something that you could spot a mile away. I thought everybody could spot it a mile away. I never bought the whole shtick. And then you and I had a disagreement, if I may rekindle that, about the DACA. You ran for a year, and you did it right. And you said, the president can't make a law. The whole thing, whether what your intention is irrelevant. What he did is illegal, gone. As soon as I get in, it's over with. And not only didn't he do that, and I understand for political purposes, it looks like he trumped, pun intended, the Democrats by adding a million. We're not arguing the principles anymore. This is the entire problem with Trump. We're not arguing the conservative principles that he said he had, that he made fun of others for not having. And here you are caught in the Ponzi scheme.
I wouldn't say it's principles, but that he was going to do the tough things, the things that you knew would generate a backlash from the D.C. press corps and institutional elites, because he was going to take them on, because in order to, quote-unquote, drain the swamp, you need to take them on. I mean, I don't blame the families at AVIAC who penned this letter to Trump. I think they're spot on. And there is really no defense to that omnibus spending bill. The Republicans, conservatives, routinely ridicule the quote-unquote government shutdown threat that's always used to grow government, right? It's not even a government shutdown. 80% of the government's on autopilot. It's furloughs of workers that get back pay and so on and so forth. So all the sky is falling rhetoric of the left is just that, hysterical rhetoric. I mean, I don't think there is an appreciation for the betrayal, and we talked to Steve Moore about this yesterday, the betrayal that is felt among Trump's base, much less skeptics of Trump that, kind of are with him because they couldn't go with somebody that hated them. The betrayal felt by Trump's base by signing this legislation, particularly the kind of way he did it. I don't want to do this, but they're holding a gun to my head. Wait a second. You're the guy that said nobody's holding a gun to my head.
Exactly. He could have been somebody. He could have won me over with this. He could have really had a much easier path to having the opinion of his base and his skeptics say, you know what, he is what he said he is. But instead, he blew it. He blew it.
Bruno in Naperville, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, Trump lost me. I voted for him for two reasons, immigration and trade. And he had an opportunity last Friday to show his commitment to the immigration issue. And he inexplicably decided to sign a deal that got us absolutely nothing. So unless he pulls a rabbit out of his head in the next 6 or 7 months and does something remarkable on trade and on the budget when the 2019 budget stuff starts happening in October or September, whenever the heck it starts happening, I'm going to sit out the election in the fall because I'm just disgusted, absolutely disgusted.
Thanks for the call, Bruno. And I mean, you're talking about Democrats need to flip 23 seats to take over the House. You've got the prognosticators pegging it at more like 45 to 60 that are in play right now. So a pretty dangerous position the president's in. And despite the fact that there hasn't really been any evidence proven of anything that even rises to a conversation about impeachable offense, you don't think Pelosi and No Justice, No Peace Maxine and the left will be energized if they take the House to move on this president and at minimum paralyze him for the subsequent 2 years? So that opportunity to undo what he did on Friday is gone.
Well, and I'll add to Bruno's point. I think he's right, but he's a little wrong because we did get something out of it. We got a guaranteed $1 trillion in debt from it. Guaranteed. Everybody gets more money. Everybody. Not just everything we stand against as Republicans and conservatives like Planned Parenthood, but all of these other little bureaucracies that, by the way, that's the real 1%. Every one of these agencies getting money for nothing, that's your 1%. It isn't us out here trying to work.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
All right. Today, rain definitely. I'm changing it on my own there, Justin. Mainly before 10 a.m.
Why are you yelling at the weather?
Because they gave me the weather, and now I got to look as dumb as Brant Miller does with that hair he's got plastered on his head. Otherwise cloudy, with the temperature rising near 43 by 10 a.m., then falling around 38 during the remainder of the day. Tonight, mostly cloudy with a low around 34. Friday, same thing as today. Saturday, same thing. Sunday, it's not the same thing. It's 10 degrees colder, so you're definitely going to freeze during Easter. Now we're going to go to the Martini guy with traffic. And there was a guy in a Ford Taurus that cut me off at 3 in the morning. I hope he's causing a traffic jam somewhere because he hit a pole.
No sign of him yet. Inbound Kennedy filling in, though, off the O'Hare extension through Cumberland. 21 minutes in from O'Hare, 10 in from Montrose, 8 in the inbound Express. Looks like that earlier crash on the inbound Ike at Mannheim's been cleared. 35 minutes, though, in from Thorndale, 22 in from Mannheim. Inbound Ryan, 25 minutes, 95th in at downtown. Hang-ups begin near 31st. There's a crash blocking the right lane and the outbound Express lanes just before 31st. Inbound Bishop Ford on the brakes right near 115 through the Rhine, and a minor delay on the northbound side of the Tri-State begins right near 80 through the 163rd Toll Plaza. Traffic answers when you need them the most. I'm Dominic Fortini on AM 560, The Answer.
Abilify, Wellbutrin, Seroquel, Rexulti. These drugs are commonly prescribed for depression treatment. 2018 can be the year you win the war on depression.
New year, new you.
Drugs for depression can be dangerous, have side effects, and really just mask the problem. TMS therapy treats the source of your depression. Cure or remission is here. HBR centers are proud to bring TMS therapy to Chicagoland and Milwaukee. Millions have been treated, and the results are outstanding.
TMS therapy is drug-free and non-invasive.
How does it work? TMS therapy uses safe, small magnetic fields, similar to those used in an MRI. They stimulate and activate mood centers, causing long-term medication-free relief. It's FDA cleared and covered by most insurance, including Blue Cross Blue Shield and Medicare. Make the call. Ask questions. Bring an end to your depression. HPR centers in Chicagoland and Milwaukee.
800-604-0208. 800-604-0208.
HPR centers. Go to endmydepression.com.
With so many homeowners fearful of poor service and not knowing who to trust, home remodeling is often delayed. But do you ever wonder why so many remodeling experiences go so wrong? Advanced Design Studio thinks remodeling shouldn't be so painful. Will the project stay on budget and be done on time? If you're nervous about home remodeling, you're not alone. Whether you're contemplating a new kitchen or bath, want an addition to your home, or in need of a whole house transformation, Advanced Design Studio is the company to call. They understand your fears and know how to overcome them. Backed by 25 years of producing positive remodeling experiences, Advanced Design's client service process, called Common Sense Remodeling, averts remodeling project delays, budget overruns, and produces a rewarding remodeling experience. Make this the year you overcome your fears and remodel your home, bath, or kitchen. Don't be a bad remodeling story. Use common sense and visit AdvancedDesignStudio.com for more information or call 847-836-2600.
Presentation is everything. If you don't have a great way to convey your message to clients, you may have lost half the battle. You need the right system and equipment for your conference and training rooms. Before you get overwhelmed and freak out over the latest technology, consult with Fathom Media. Fathom Media is a systems design specialist that will help bring your conference or boardroom into the 21st century and deliver presentations that cut through. From pre-design all the way through training you how to use and maintain your new system and equipment, Fathom Media is committed to your success, and it's more affordable than you may think. Communicating to clients, employees, and even customers doesn't have to be complicated. From business applications to churches and schools, Fathom Media will deliver your message using the latest and most effective technology for audio, video conferencing, interactive video walls, smartboards, kiosks, digital signage, and more. Choose Fathom Media for a free design technology consultation. Go to fathommedia.com. fathommedia.com.
When it comes to your home, nothing's more important than your roof. Everything underneath depends on it, right? Even if it's not leaking yet, you know it's important to be proactive and repair or replace it before you have a problem. And in Chicagoland, the decision to call Best Deal Inc. first is a no-brainer. For nearly 2 decades, Best Deal has delivered great service and beautiful roofs, as well as the best deal. By dealing directly with owners Greg and Dan, you'll get the absolute best deal anywhere because Best Deal maintains zero stock or warehousing, so there's no overhead to pass on to you. Best Deal uses the highest quality materials and latest, highest tech equipment, and their skilled tradesmen will complete your job on time and to your satisfaction. So if a new or repaired roof is on your list this spring, don't hesitate to get the best roof deal. Call licensed, bonded, and insured Best Deal today for your free estimate at 877-77-BEST-D or visit bestroofdeal.com. That's 877-77-BEST-D or online at bestroofdeal.com.
Ed, get in here and shut the door.
What's up, boss?
What's up? You have to ask, Ed?
Yes, sir. Usually, sir.
Ed, you're naked as a jaybird.
Correctamundo, sir. Just as you ordered.
I what?
You told us Jimmy John's was going on natural, sir.
No, Ed, I told you our meats are now all natural.
Huh?
That's meats, Ed, not employees.
Oh, I get it now. It's our meats that are all natural.
Yes, Ed. Wood smoked ham, choice roast beef, real fresh turkey breast, all natural and freaky fresh.
How embarrassing.
No kidding. It's a good thing I got to you before your first delivery.
Yeah, well, I already spread the word, sir, and...
Naked? Oh, no.
He's what? Naked?
He's naked.
The expensive mattress you're considering buying is a waste of money because it isn't customized to you. Hi, I'm Christian von Rickenbach, founder of HelixSleep.com, the only place to get a customized mattress starting at just $600. Just go to HelixSleep.com, fill out our 2-minute sleep survey, and we'll design a mattress made just for you with a 100-night sleep trial and financing as low as 0%. For a limited time, get $50 off your mattress order when you go to helixsleep.com/talkradio. That's helixsleep.com/talkradio.
Risk mitigation is an important consideration that smart companies pay attention to in today's complicated business climate. Some of the greatest risks occur when your company hires new employees or when you execute new business financial relationships. When your company hires, leases, or conducts financial transactions, decisions are critical. That's why veteran-owned and operated Global Verification Network is a company you should know. Startups to Fortune 100s trust Global Verification Network, and so should you. They're a background screening and investigative services company dedicated to expert, timely, and affordable background screening services for employment, tenant screening, and business due diligence. Global Verification Network is headquartered in Chicagoland, a federally recognized veteran-owned small business, and never offshores data like many competitors. To request your company's risk analysis without obligation or cost, visit globalverificationnetwork.com or call 877-695-1179 or visit them online at globalverificationnetwork.com. Global Verification Network, the risk mitigation experts, 877-695-1179.
You want to go to Italy, but not on a prepackaged tour. You want something more real. You want to do what you love in Italy, to gather with friends, your beloved family, a big table, in your own private villa in Tuscany. It's easier than you think. DoWhatYouLoveInItaly.com is a small company with 8 villas to choose from, all in the most beautiful and culturally interesting countryside of Tuscany. For the cost of a hotel, you can rent a private, centuries-old villa with pool, gardens, and classic Tuscan views. Grandparents, kids, and grandchildren, groups of friends, your family, together in one of our gorgeous Italian villas in the heart of Tuscany. They are called Do What You Love in Italy because they help you to do what you love in Italy. See the 8 villas waiting for you at DoWhatYouLoveInItaly.com. Do what you love in Italy.com.
Looking to secure a mortgage? Then you need to call Team Hochberg. Abby, millennial, purchasing a home. So her father, Sal, recommended she secure a Team Hochberg approval before speaking with a realtor. Abby naturally consulted with her friends who've never purchased a home before and applied online. Abby called her dad because the online lender wasn't responding to her emails. Sal told her to stop messing around with the online lender and call Team Hochberg, the only lender he trusted to help his daughter. We approved Abby to purchase a home, and Team Hochberg's real estate experts found Abby the perfect home. The internet's great for purchasing socks, shoes, and underpants, not mortgages. When securing a mortgage, you can either waste your time getting terrible service from online lenders, or you can call Team Hochberg at 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. Team Hochberg has helped thousands of AM560 listeners, but we can't help if you don't call 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. Pearl Mortgage, an equal housing lender, Illinois residential mortgage licensee 4358 and MLS 19186.
If you have pain, I hope you listen up. Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. You don't need to live in pain. Let me repeat that. You do not have to live in pain. Chronic pain is the worst, whether it's from an accident or pain that just develops. Chicagoland, you're in luck. Dr. Ken Candido is one of the nation's most respected and successful pain doctors. He's been voted one of Chicago's best pain doctors several times. Bottom line, he's the pain doctor you need. Dr. Candido of Chicago Anesthesia and Pain Specialists will help you get off pain medication and all of the side effects. How? By finding the source of your chronic pain and fixing it.
This is Ken Candido of Chicago Anesthesia Pain Specialists. Let's make you pain-free.
Call Dr. Ken Candido and make an appointment with a cutting-edge, respected, and successful pain physician. Go to mypainchicago.com. That's mypainchicago.com. Thousands have been helped with their chronic pain, and you could be the next one. Get the phone number and all the info you need at mypainchicago.com. That's mypainchicago.com.
Make sure to check out the Income Store live video stream of today's show right now at 560theanswer.com.
AM 560 News Time 5:57, and from the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center, here's Dominic Fortini.
Inbound side of the Kennedy this morning, getting tripped up right near Canfield, 22 minutes in from O'Hare, 10 in from Montrose, 8 in the inbound express. Inbound side of the Ike, 36 minutes in from Thorndale, 23 in from Manheim. Brake lights on, inbound Stevenson near First Avenue, 48 minutes in from 355. On the inbound Ryan, 27 minutes in from 95th. Some hangups begin right near the Stevenson. Crews did clear that earlier crash in the outbound express lanes before 31st. And a minor delay inbound Bishop Ford right near 115th. Traffic's a service of La Quinta Inns and Suites. How do business travelers win on the road? By staying at La Quinta Inns and Suites. Relax with contemporary lobby makeovers and stylish room designs. Prepare to win at business. Book now at lq.com. Traffic answers when you need them the most. I'm Dominic Fortini on AM 560, The Answer.
And now the forecast with meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Today, rather cloudy and breezy with a little rain into the early afternoon, high 49. Tonight, partly to mostly cloudy, low 33. Sun and some clouds tomorrow, high 50. Clouds thicken at night with a late night shower, low 37. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
39 Lakefront, 46 at Midway, 45 degrees at O'Hare. AM 560 News Time, 5:59. In the news, former Chicago Public Schools CEO Paul Vallas is running for mayor. Vallas reportedly will file his official bid with the State Board of Elections Monday. He joins the list of candidates to challenge Mayor Emanuel that includes former Police Superintendent Gary McCarthy, former CPS Principal Troy LaRaviere, and businessman Willie Wilson. Major changes coming to O'Hare. Mayor Emanuel signed an agreement yesterday for an $8.5 billion plan to expand the airport. A Cook County judge is planning to begin the murder trial of Chicago police officer Jason Van Dyke this summer. Judge Vincent Gahn made the announcement at a hearing yesterday, but he did not give a specific date. Mayor Emanuel is scheduled to testify in the wrongful death lawsuits brought by the families of Quintonio LeGrier and Betty Jones. They were shot and killed by Chicago police officer Robert Rialmo in 2015. An investigation is underway after a woman was carjacked at the Oak Brook Mall in Oak Brook. Police say the victim was sitting in her car in the mall parking garage when a Toyota Camry blocked her in. An armed man got out and took her purse and her car. The news, a service of Staples. Staples knows that running out of ink is no way to do business. Help keep your business working and your printers printing. Go to Staples for a huge selection of ink and toner and find your ink in stock every time and at a low price every day so you can meet every deadline. Staples, it's pro time. We'll have more of Chicago's Morning Answer coming up in just a minute, but now it's time for Fox News. You're listening to WIND Chicago at 6 o'clock.
The doctor is out. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News, but a new one's in as head of the Veterans Affairs Department. More on the latest Trump cabinet shakeup from Fox's John Decker at the White House.
In response to heavy criticism over his travel expenses, President Trump fired Veterans Affairs Secretary David Shulkin and said he planned to nominate his personal physician, Rear Admiral Ronnie Jackson, to replace him. In a statement, the president praised Jackson as highly trained and qualified. But AMVETS, a major veterans organization, expressed concern over Shulkin's dismissal and the president's intention to nominate Jackson, whom they worried lacked experience to run the huge department. The VA is the government's second largest department, responsible for 9 million military veterans. Chris?
John, President Trump heads to Ohio today for a speech about his infrastructure plan. $200 billion in federal money meant to jumpstart projects and attract more local and private funding. The president will speak at an engineers union training facility in Richfield, Ohio at 2 o'clock Eastern. A date is set for the first face-to-face talks between North and South Korea's leaders since 2007. Here's Fox's Simon Owen.
Chris, a senior North Korean official saying leader Kim Jong-un and South Korean President Moon Jae-in will meet on April 27th, saying the agreement of a date provides new hope for peace on the Korean peninsula. It would be only the third time the two countries have held top-level talks, although South Korea is hazy on whether North Korea's nuclear weapons program will be on the agenda, only saying further preparations are needed. The meeting to be held in a village on the border between the countries. Chris?
Simon, thanks. In Sacramento, California today, the funeral for Stephon Clark. He was shot and killed by police officers in his grandmother's backyard. They thought his cell phone was a gun. Protests over that shooting have disrupted a city council meeting, and Sacramento Kings basketball games, and more protests are expected today. Fox News, fair and balanced.
The news moves full speed every day. It can be hard to keep up with what's happening, what it means, and why it's important. That's why we're here at AM 560. We'll keep you up to date all day with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson in the morning.
First thing you do, don't flee a police officer.
That's what they think happened.
Followed by Mike Gallagher and Dennis Prager. In the afternoon, it's Sean Hannity.
There is now an intoxicating drug. It's called Trump hate.
And Joe Walsh with your drive home.
God, they don't understand what the NRA is.
This is AM 560, The Answer.
Don't forget that you can watch Chicago's Morning Answer on the Income Store live video stream every morning at 560theanswer.com.
Buying a new tractor? You owe it to yourself to visit your LS Tractor dealer. LS Tractors give you a lot more tractor for less money compared to other brands. For starters, LS Tractor comes with more select features as standard equipment. They make operating your tractor easier with better performance to get more work done quicker. Compare and you'll know who gives you more tractor for your money. LS Tractor. Excel in your field. Learn more at lstractorusa.com.
Visit Abbey Equipment in Streeter and get more tractor.
GoToMeeting is the collaborative meeting tool trusted by over 18 million monthly users. But how do we make the concept of 18 million more real for you? Well, if you wanted to travel 18 million miles, you could go to the moon and back 36 times and still have a few miles left over for a detour. $18 million could buy you 4.5 million non-fat iced lattes, which would keep you caffeinated from now until the end of your career. Or if you took 18 million standing desk breaks, well, you'd probably be in great shape. Visit GoToMeeting.com to learn why so many people trust us to help them get work done.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Secure Retirement Radio with host Raj Shah. Sunday mornings at 7 on AM 560, The Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan, and in for Amy this morning is Sean from Elmwood Park, and
get a little more excited about it, will you?
I'm not that excited about it. I gotta be honest with you. I'm more in tolerance mode than excitement mode.
Well, that's really your two gears. Go ahead.
This is really true. So the shakeup of Trump's cabinet continues, not unexpectedly. VA Secretary David Shulkin was dumped yesterday in favor of Trump's personal doctor, who's also respected Navy Admiral Ronnie Jackson. I think probably Dr. Jackson suggesting that Trump could live to the age 200. He's so in such good shape that probably helped grease his nomination.
Yeah, that'd be good. You need a promotion. Did you like my hair too? That comes with a race.
Nah, to be fair on this one, not only is it completely anticipated, Shulkin was an Obama appointee. He clashed with Trump's staff. He didn't want to provide as much government subsidized private health care for veterans after the VA scandals of the last couple of years. Shameful. As the Trump administration wanted. He also had an issue with violating ethics rules regarding a trip to Europe last year. So there was a lot of good reasons to replace Shulkin. I don't think it's much of a story, but it doesn't mean that it won't continue. Will help the D.C. press corps continue their chaos in the White House story that Michael Wolff manufactured for his book.
Yeah, the liar. But like all government, I love government because it's like, hey, we got to get rid of you. What are we going to do? Let's give him a promotion. It's the only place where the more you fail, the better you do.
Fumu, for more on this topic, we're pleased to be joined by our friend in sound who follows us at 9 a.m. on these airwaves each morning. He is Mike Gallagher, host of The Mike Gallagher Show. Mike, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
Dan, great. I'm just honored to be on at a day where you got to have the guy that harassed me, Sean from Elmwood Park, on with you. I mean, this is how any doubt I had about how much you disliked me has just been dispelled by putting Sean on with you.
Let me just allay some concerns you have, Mike. He harasses everybody.
I know.
That's
He's
his
an equal
approach.
opportunity harasser,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Sean, you take on everybody, right?
As long as we agree I'm right, Mike, we're going to get along famously.
Yes. Right.
All right, you got it. Well, there's probably a lot of right here today because as I'm listening to you talk about this personnel switch, what fascinates me, guys, about the media coverage of yesterday's move is that the mainstream media breathlessly reports this as, again, a kooky personnel move on a part of a unhinged president who hires his personal doctor. And as you started to say, Dan, I mean, this is a retired admiral doctor who, by the way, was the White House physician under Barack Obama. And that sort of, gets lost in the shuffle. And, of course, the inference is, remember the crazy doctor with the wild hair that was, handing out birth certificate or, written certificates of Trump's health early on? There are people who are sitting around who just hear this half-cocked narrative that the president just hired his personal doctor to be the health of the VA system, and they're thinking they're going back to that guy.
Yeah,
and,
right.
You know, they're thinking. So I mean, it's just it's once again the media's spin on something that is, like you said, Dan, not much of a story, a personnel move, and the president continuing to try to get the cabinet, as he put it yesterday, that he really wants. But it's just another day in paradise with the corrupt, biased, Trump-hating mainstream media.
Well, let me ask you about a more substantive story, and this is a question that will be an acronym lover's delight here. The DOJ IG opening an investigation into the FBI's possible FISA abuses. Michael Horowitz, who we're waiting breathlessly for his forthcoming report on Andrew McCabe and other abuses within senior leadership of FBI, now looking at the basis for the FBI ostensibly getting the warrant to surveil Carter Page, launching this whole Russian collusion matter. Your take on the import of this investigation?
Well, I know it's a very big deal for my friend Sean Hannity. He was literally breathing into a brown paper sack last night on TV. He's very excited, very excited. He's been talking about this for a long time. And you know what? It does seem to be a pretty big deal. I mean, if you look at the facts as they're laid out, there seem to be FISA abuses. If, in fact, action was taken based on a tainted dossier, then that matters. You have an FBI agent who right now is under the gun in Minnesota for leaking to Glenn Greenwald's Intercept, leaking classified information. And that, too, is a big deal that isn't getting a lot of media attention. So it seems like the FBI has behaved in a way that is most peculiar when it comes to its relationship with the media. There ought to be accountability. A lot of people have called for a second special counsel. Frankly, my eyes are sort of, glazed over from the whole FBI Russia collusion thing. I mean, I'm at a point where it seems pretty obvious that these guys are at a point where they need to or get off the pot, and they are not producing any evidence of collusion. And everything they're getting, they're ensnaring people, as these investigations often do, in things that have nothing to do with the original intent of the Mueller of the Mueller special counsel, and that is, did the Trump campaign collude or conspire with the Russians to impact the outcome of the election? I think everybody recognizes the answer is a definitive no. It's a most emphatic no. Maybe that's why, for the last couple of days, they've bounced from the Russian collusion narrative over to Stormy, because they're trying to figure out some way to stop this freight train of policy achievements that Trump has pulled off in the last year and a half, and they just can't quite figure out what trick they're going to take to stop him.
What I find more annoying, Michael, is the fact that they're not following the real collusion, the collusion of Uranium One. They're not following the real collusion that you find out that it's with Heinz, Kerry's stepson, and Joe Biden's son, how they're working with a Russian oligarch in the Ukraine, thanks to Peter Schweitzer in the Secret Empires book. This is some major, major scandals and the misuse of relationships that relatives had, this corruption by proxy that we're deciding. So my point isn't that they're investigating, and I'm upset that they're investigating. I want them to follow all of the avenues that they're ignoring because it doesn't involve Trump. I'm disgusted that it already had an agenda and an outcome they wanted to achieve, and when their narrative doesn't fit that, they just ignore it. So
it's a terrific point, but the problem is, to follow all avenues, you sort of need an objective body that will do that. Last week, you guys probably saw the Monmouth poll that came out that 74% of Americans believe there is a deep state. A lot of people on the left in the mainstream media sort of mock the idea of a deep state. Guys, 74%, that's Republicans, that's Democrats, that's independents, who believe that there is a deep state. There are people who are pulling the strings behind the scenes. There are people who are helping to form and shape this government that we don't know about, that we'll never hear about. If you believe the level of corruption is as deep as I think it is, there's not going to be objectivity, Sean. There's not going to be a fair and reasonable pursuit of the truth. And we have also seen, speaking of the FBI, misstep after misstep. My goodness, one of the shocking revelations the other day, to me, a bombshell, the father of the guy who committed the massacre at the Pulse nightclub in Orlando
informant.
has been an FBI informant for 11 years. Do you think there's any possibility that the FBI went easy on an informant's son as they had these people on their radar, and perhaps that going soft and looking the other way led to the massacre of 74 people in Orlando that night? That's a huge story. We were days and days covering Orlando, and now, of course, the killer's father was an FBI informant. It has been revealed. They didn't. By the way, the prosecutors didn't share that little bit of information with the widow. There's an example of stories that are almost virtually buried in the mainstream media that really do matter. And Sean, you're just right. Like the Uranium One story is a big deal. This story is a big deal too. There's a lot of big deals that never see the light of day because of, once again, a stench of corruption that I think permeates every level of our culture right now.
I want to go back to something you mentioned earlier, Mike, and pick up on this idea of stopping the freight train of Trump policy accomplishments. Might Trump have done that himself by signing that omnibus spending bill on Friday? You have, perhaps unanticipated, his base, including victims of illegal alien criminals that are excoriating the president for signing that spending bill.
Dan, you've given plenty of speeches in your career. Put yourself in my shoes. Friday that happened, and Saturday I had to go speak to a group of St. Louis County Republicans. You remember the movie Springtime for Hitler? The scene in Springtime for Hitler and the producers where they're trying to perform and the audience is looking like their eyes are open and they're shocked and they can't. I mean, that's what I felt like when I'm trying to talk to a group of dismayed Republicans about how great things are going. We were all disappointed. There's no question we were decimated by this. I got really excited where my show airs late mornings. The president had sent out a tweet promising or flirting rather with
vetoing
the bill, which would have been a grand slam. Shut it down for a while. What do you think is going to happen? That would have been Republicans would have soared to a landslide in the midterm elections if Trump would have stood behind that. It was the most disappointed I've been in the Trump presidency. But we have short attention spans, and let's remember the length of this particular budget outside the military. Ends September 30th. October 1st, we're talking about we're being back where we were virtually, and what a shrewd move this could have been, because that's the eve of the midterm election. So people will have a fresh new memory about how the president reacted. But Dan, there's no question it was very disappointing, particularly in the full funding of Planned Parenthood. To me, there's so much that everything we do, everything we say, everything we represent starts and ends with life, with the sanctity of life. And I get so angry when I think of any taxpayer dollars going to the most, to the biggest abortion provider in the country, an organization like Planned Parenthood that donated to the march in Washington the other day for those kids who are marching around who want gun control. So that there's no question it was a disappointment. Hey, nothing good comes easy, and we go back to the fundamentals and the things we teach our kids. We have to fight harder than ever. I can only hope and pray that Democrats and liberals and the left will continue to go down this real fun water slide of repealing the Second Amendment, because if they keep going down that path, there'll be a lot of Republicans who get energized and come out to vote in November, and that's precisely what we need.
Now, just for the record, Michael, for our future Twitter arguments, I only argue on the issues where Trump is wrong. Because in this omnibus, you see all the things I argued about, and we could just qualify it by saying you're right, Sean. And then we haven't also talked about the infrastructure. So when that starts coming, I'm really coming after you.
Well, I want Dan to tell me, because I blocked you a long time ago. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm
just kidding.
You made the right call. You made the right call. There's no question about it. It's the proper approach for your mental health. Now, Mike, before we let you go, I want to get your opinion on this, because I know you are a dog lover. And so I want to see if we're to have common ground with PETA of all organizations or not. According to PETA, you cannot be a feminist, which I know you're interested in being, and buy a dog. Even if you purchase a dog from a reputable breeder, according to PETA, that is akin to supporting an illicit sex trade. Dog owners cannot be feminists because if you buy a dog, you're funding sexual exploitation, says PETA.
One of my earliest debates many years ago as a radio talk show host was with a PETA representative who argued with me that if you pluck hair nits or whatever they call those things, lice out of your head, you're actually committing an act of murder every time you pluck a lice out of your head or your child's head. And they were dead serious. They said, I swear to you, they were completely serious. They said, life is life. A pig is a boy, is a man, or whatever these goofy people say. These people are in some serious need of counseling. They have some serious mental health issues. There's a lot of people who have mental health problems who join an organization. I think that's the path that a lot of PETA members have taken. So anything I hear about PETA, I go back to the day that earnest man argued with me that you cannot pluck a lice out of your head. You must gently remove it from your scalp and make sure you keep it alive because you cannot take an animal's life. That's who we're dealing with. Always remember that about PETA. Those people are bat crap crazy.
He is. Mike Gallagher, he'll have more fun PETA stories at 9 a.m. Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays, 9 to 11 a.m. on these airwaves, AM 560. Of course, Mike, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
Dan, take care of Sean, please.
Yes. Speaking of mental health, thanks for joining us, Mike. And he joined us on the Turnkey.pro answer line.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Today, rain likely. You could tell because of those things on your windshield going back and forth. It should stop around 10 a.m. Then it's going to be cloudy.
Hey, we have microphones here so that
mine's
your
always
voice is
broken.
amplified. People can't hear you.
Oh, they love the voice. All right. Then it's going to get down to 38. Tonight, cloudy with a low around 34. Tomorrow, same thing. Same thing Sunday. Easter, it's going to be extremely cold, 36. I'll be in Florida, escaping Illinois. Dominic Fortini. I got it right, Dom. Dominic Fortini is going to take it away and tell you about traffic.
Inbound Eden slowing at Pratt this morning. Inbound Kennedy on the brakes right off the O'Hare extension. Then again at Sayre, 25 minutes in from O'Hare, 11 in from the junction. Watch for hang-ups on the inbound Ike, Manheim to Harlem. Then at Sacramento, 40 minutes in from Thorndale, 27 in from Manheim. Delays on the inbound Stevenson right near First Avenue. Cost you 48 minutes in from 355. Inbound Ryan, 35 minutes, 95th in at downtown with plenty of slowdowns starting to develop on the inbound Bishop Ford right near 115th. You're on the brakes through the Ryan. Traffic answers when you need them the most. I'm Dominic Fortini on AM 560, The Answer.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I'm Mark Gastineau. I played in the NFL for 10 years. I was diagnosed with CTE, with dementia, Alzheimer's, and Parkinson's. The fruits and vegetables that we take from Balance of Nature is the best thing that we could ever do. And I'm calling in now to order extra because my wife has been taking mine because she sees a difference in me. It is a wonderful thing that Balance of Nature is doing. I hear the testimonies on the radio, but I'm a testimony for myself. And the fruits and vegetables, if I don't take them every single day, my day is not going to go the same. So God bless you, and thank you for what you've done for my wife and I.
When you call, use discount code CHICAGO, and we'll take 35% off your first month's order and ship it to you free. Call 800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
When the need for senior care arises, there's no place like home. Your loved ones should never have to give up living at home. Visiting Angels will provide home care for your mom or dad at home up to 24 hours per day, including personal care, meals, and light housework. You'll select your professional caregiver with Visiting Angels. Look up visitingangels.com or call 877-374-LIVE. That's 877-374-LIVE. Franchises are available. Visiting Angels, America's choice in senior home care.
Build a better basket at your local CVS pharmacy, where it's easy to find everything you need and the sweet deals you want. This week only, fill their baskets with Cadbury mini eggs, Hershey Easter Kisses eggs and miniatures, just 2 for $5. Then fill yours with savings on hundreds of cosmetics like Revlon and Almay, all buy one, get one 50% off. Restrictions apply. See cvs.com/weekly ad for details. Feel good? Save money at your neighborhood CVS pharmacy.
Earnings vary based on your effort. Message and data rates may apply. Do you want to learn how to make money flipping houses right here in Chicago? If so, we have an amazing opportunity for you. We're looking for a small group of motivated individuals to join our real estate investing team. You'll learn our simple 3-step system for flipping homes right here in the local area. This is Than Merrill, star of A&E's hit TV show Flip This House. My team and I are looking for a handful of people in the Chicago area who want to learn how to make money flipping houses in your spare time using other people's money. Chicago is a perfect market for my system, and this week I'm holding a free 2-hour educational workshop where you will learn how to make money flipping homes and how to build long-term wealth with income properties.
To get 2 free tickets to Than's workshop, text RADIO to 82,000. Seating is extremely limited. Text RADIO to 82,000 right now because this free ticket offer expires this Friday. Text RADIO to 82,000. That's RADIO to 82,000.
AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan, and in for Amy this morning, Sean from Elmwood Park. And Sean, Chelsea Manning is running for Senate in Maryland. Chelsea, don't call me Bradley Manning, sat down for an interview with Democracy Now! Exclamation point.
Inside voice.
You have to turn your...
inside voice. I
yeah.
was told earlier. Inside voice.
Yeah.
No screaming. You can't scream Democracy Now!
Well, I can do that. You can modulate.
Oh.
Modulation is the key. All right. So Chelsea Manning, believe, still has the Y chromosome, so I'm going to refer to him as him. Sat down for this interview, and you tell me, now he's challenging Ben Cardin in a Democrat primary for the Senate seat. Ben Cardin, who's been, Maryland senator since the state was incorporated. Chelsea Manning's views on a range of issues. You tell me if Chelsea Manning isn't center cut for the 21st century Democrat Party. All right?
All right.
Chelsea Manning on releasing prisoners from prisons, all of them.
I'm hoping to get trans people out of prison. That's the objective.
They want to stay.
It's not about making conditions better. It's not about making more or better prisons. It's about closing them down and releasing people. So we should be releasing trans prisoners.
You've talked about you looking to get criminal justice reform, anti-military.
Not reform.
All
Dismantling the criminal. We need to restructure and dismantle the criminal justice system.
Close the prisons, dismantle the criminal justice system, and just so the interviewer was not taking him out of context. It came back around.
What would you do with the prisons of the United States?
We need to start closing them. We need to start closing prisoners. We need to start releasing prisoners and then closing prisons down.
Indiscriminate release of prisoners, closing down prisons. This is very much like what Sideshow Bob said in The Simpsons. You can't keep the Democrats out of the White House forever, and then me and all my criminal buddies are on the streets.
That just keeps making Ivanka Trump find out where Jared is, because this guy sounds exactly like Jared Kushner.
Although I don't believe, and I haven't heard very much from Jared, so I don't know.
That's Jared Kushner. I'm telling you, I think it could be him.
Jared Kushner and Emo Phillips are the same person.
All right.
But what do you think?
I think he's insane. And it didn't take much more than the miniskirt on a fella to prove it to me. I mean, I know I'm passé, I'm old-fashioned.
Yeah.
But, weekends with transvestites and their intellectual thought is not something I'm concerned with. And here, when you find out what they think, let's let all the prisoners out of prison. I'm okay with it because I'll do all right. I'm not the one in the miniskirt. Let's see how it goes for you.
Okay. On health care, Chelsea Manning's review of health care policy, what he would do as a United States Senator.
We need to provide health care for everybody. It should be free. It should be accessible. And there should be a doctor-patient relationship that is unaffected by, the state should not be intervening into into who you are and why. You should just be getting access.
Healthcare for all.
Healthcare for all, but unconditionally. It's not, you don't have to fill out forms or get, or have the state police you.
Like the love you have for this show, unconditional.
It's great. And how is it different than Tammy Duckworth's? How is his view different than Tammy? He's mainstream Soviet. He's perfect for the Democrat Party. I say we give him a crown.
Well, it is center cut because it's the fiction of government, meaning everybody else, paying for everything with no strings, with no intervention, with no strictures. Give me an example where that's the case.
I want to do to him what I wanted to do with those girls singing the song. Just grab him by the ears, slap him in the head till he understands You're not living in utopia. It doesn't exist in your head anywhere. You can't do anything you want all the time.
Well, you can understand why he would think that after committing treason and having his prison sentence commuted by President Obama. Because treason used to be a big deal.
And then we paid to have the Schweinsteiger removed, too, didn't we?
Yes.
All right.
All right.
So there you go. No wonder he thinks everything's free.
You want to know what Chelsea Manning thinks about immigration policy, don't you?
Oh, I'm riveted.
Well, here it is.
And in terms of immigration, what would you do?
Abolish ICE. Abolish the CBP.
And our borders?
I mean, borders are imaginary lines. They're something that we draw, through the middle of a desert. We invented the border. It wasn't there previously. People should be able to move freely about the world.
Mm-hmm. I'm not that shocked. He felt the same way about genitals.
No question about it. So, I mean, it just is worth noting. I appreciate Chelsea Manning because he's the one honest Democrat. It's like John Paul Stevens being the one honest leftist when it comes to the Second Amendment. Chelsea Manning is just giving specific voice to the positions they actually hold.
Let him keep talking. That's the Dan Proft rule. Let him keep talking.
I mean, I really do. I appreciate his candidacy.
I want Dick,
and I hope he wins.
Well, I want Dick Durbin to say where he disagrees with him. Same thing, and you're a senator. This kid could go far. He could be the first lady and the president.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Jerry Kerrigan, one of the owners of FJ Kerrigan Plumbing Company, a third-generation family-run business. Our trusted longtime accountant referred us to Signature Bank, and we've never been happier. On one of our first meetings, Signature Bank CEO Mick O'Rourke said, "You worry about running the business, and we'll take care of everything else." Since that initial meeting, Signature Bank has lived up to every promise they've made. The decision-making is local, the staff is consistent, and the service is outstanding. FJ Kerrigan Plumbing understands the value of long-term customer relationships, and we plan to be a customer of Signature Bank for a long time to come.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up, FANG stocks are taking on water, and Netflix is taking on Susan Rice. And about those Parkland kids protesting on Saturday, a fascinating piece in Slate, how their entire education prepared them for that moment we all witnessed on Saturday. We'll discuss that at 6:36, but now we check the headlines with Dave Stewart.
Thank you, Dan. Good morning. It's 45 degrees in Chicago at 6:30 on AM 560, The Answer. We'll see a little afternoon rain today and a high of 49. People marched again in Sacramento before a funeral for the unarmed black man who was shot to death by police. Mark Mayfield has more.
Protesters were on the streets last night chanting slogans including Black Lives Matter and Justice Delayed is Justice Denied. Stephon Clark was shot multiple times last week by police who claimed that they thought Clark's phone was a firearm. The Reverend Al Sharpton is expected to deliver a eulogy today at Clark's funeral. Mark Mayfield, NBC News Radio.
Another member of the Trump cabinet is being replaced. President Trump nominating his personal physician to be the next Veterans Affairs Secretary, replacing David Shulkin, an Obama holdover. North and South Korea hold an Inter-Korea Summit on April 27. South Korea's government made the announcement in Seoul, the first summit of the two Koreas in more than a decade. Former Chicago schools boss Paul Vallis apparently jumping into the race for mayor. He's expected to formally announce his challenge Monday. A Cook County man freed after a wrongful murder conviction is now fighting to stay in this country. Ricardo Rodriguez was freed after prosecutors dropped the case because of a discredited police detective who manipulated witnesses. But during his nearly 20 years in prison, Rodriguez was stripped of his legal residency and was taken into custody by ICE when he left prison in Pontiac yesterday. Maria Rodriguez Lopez, his sister, says he should be allowed to stay here.
They took away his residency in 2003 for a crime that he did not commit. And I'm hoping I'm actually demanding that they give him back his residency because this was a big injustice that they did to our family.
Rodriguez was brought to America as a child. His family is all here. Mayor Emanuel reportedly was beyond outraged to hear about dirty conditions revealed by inspections of 125 of the city's public schools. Chicago Sun-Times reports that he and several aldermen are calling for immediate cleaning of the schools found to have dirty floors, rodent droppings, and smelly bathrooms. In sports, it's baseball time. John Lester takes the mound for the Cubs in Miami late this morning. James Shields on the hill for the White Sox today in Kansas City. The Bulls are in Miami. The Blackhawks host the Jets. News, a service of Lowe's. Pro customers at Lowe's save 5% every day when you use your Lowe's Business Credit Account. That's 5% on all purchases in-store or online. Subject to credit approval, U.S. only. AM 560 News Time, 6:33. Traffic in 2 minutes on AM 560, The Answer.
Dennis Prager explains the best way to stop a school shooter.
The only way to stop these people is by shooting them. Obviously, some can be stopped in advance. The issue of if we have more gun laws, these people will be stopped. If they really were to work, then we would have to seriously consider them.
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
The following is a paid political announcement.
For decades, our country has lived through the greatest jobs theft in the history of the world. Our factories were shuttered, our steel mills closed down, and our jobs were stolen away and shipped far away to other countries, some of which you've never even heard of.
And who's responsible for those lost jobs? Career politicians. Senator Joe Donnelly profited from Mexican labor, and Congressman Todd Rokita and Luke Messer, they voted to fast-track Obama's trade deals. Donnelly, Rokita, and Messer let Indiana jobs go to China and Mexico and sat on their hands. We can't trust them to bring good jobs back. Businessman Mike Braun, conservative, Christian, Mike Braun will help President Trump make America stronger than ever before.
I'm Mike Braun. I approve this message.
Paid for by Mike Braun for Indiana.
At 6:34 from the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center, here's Dominic Fortini.
Emergency officials finishing up with a fire on the west side. They're looking to reopen Pulaski between Harrison and Jackson soon. We've got a new crash. It's on the I-57 entrance ramp to the northbound side of the Tri-State. Use some caution there. Inbound Kennedy, 31 minutes. O'Hare and 15 in from the junction. 12 in the inbound express lane, slowing up outbound Central to Sayre. Double-digit hang-ups. Inbound Ike, 45 minutes in from Thorndale to downtown. 32 in from Manheim. Slowdowns continue. Inbound Stevenson, Harlem to Kedzie. 58 minutes in from 355 with some thick traffic. Inbound Ryan, they're getting right near 47th in the locals. 37 minutes in from 95th. Traffic's a service of Staples. Staples knows running out of ink is no way to do business. Help keep your business working and your printers printing. Go to Staples for a huge selection of ink and toner and find your ink in stock every time and a low price every day so you can meet every deadline. Staples, it's pro time. Traffic answers when you need them the most. I'm Dominic Fortini on AM 560, The Answer.
More of Chicago's Morning Answer next, but now the forecast. Cloudy and breezy, a little rain into the early afternoon. Today we'll see a high of 49. Partly to mostly cloudy tonight, down to 33. Partly sunny tomorrow with a high of 50. Right now, 44 degrees at O'Hare. Next news, 7 o'clock. Get continuous coverage of the latest news, traffic, and weather at 560theanswer.com. Now, more of Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas Coffee, a family tradition since 1897.
If you're talking about it, I'll be talking about it. Dennis Prager here. Join me this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Sean from Elmwood Park in for Amy. And Sean, you fancy yourself some sort of former financial whiz kid.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about all that. I like capitalism, and I love the fundamentals of economics, and I understand that when you're frauding them, it doesn't really end well. But I got to trust the plan, Prof. Don't you understand?
Well, let's talk a little bit of capitalism here. The so-called FANG stocks, Facebook, Amazon, Netflix. And
all the ones that don't make money and keep going up?
Google, yeah. Well, I haven't even included Tesla, although it's not going up of late.
Another great idea.
They're taking a bit of a hit. Mark Zuckerberg scheduled to testify before Congress, and people are chomping at the bit to take their pieces out of Zuckerberg. Even Even Tim Cook, Apple's Tim Cook rebuking Zuckerberg over Facebook's business model. We could make a ton of money if we monetize our customers, if our customers were our product. We've elected not to do that. We're not going to traffic in your personal life. Privacy to us is a human right, a civil right. And it's funny because about a decade ago, Mark Zuckerberg said the same thing.
So who is going to own the Facebook content? The person who puts it there or you?
The person who's putting the content on Facebook always owns the information, and that's why this is such an important thing, and why Facebook is such a special service that people feel a lot of ownership over. Right? This is their information; they own it.
And you won't sell it?
They often want to. No, of course not. I mean, they want to share it with only a few people.
So just to be clear, you're not going to sell or share any of the information on Facebook.
What the terms say is just we're not going to share people's information except for with the people that they've asked for it to be shared.
So is that fraud that Zuckerberg committed?
I don't know. I was distracted by the fact he rolls his S's like a Victoria's Secret model. Another guy. So here's something that I find fascinating about the businesses. We all act surprised when their stock pulls back on rumors. For 20 years, Amazon has made money for exactly one of those years. For 19 years, it lost money. Facebook doesn't really make money. Apple's the only one that sells a product and makes some profit. The rest of them were buying into what they could be. The Centaur.
Well, Facebook makes money.
Well, in compared to what it spends, call me silly. I like the old balance sheets.
Well, no, yeah, but
it's new to the making money.
But okay, but so what's your point? You don't want to buy the FANG stocks, okay? But
yeah.
But what's what's the larger point about the larger issue of tech and its importance in our economy, obviously, as well as it's one thing to say you should have known that you're the product in Facebook. It's another thing to hear from the CEO saying, I'm never going to do the things he ultimately did.
Well, I mean, you don't know Zuckerberg's a scoundrel? He stole the idea. His whole empire is built on someone else's concept. He scammed it, he stole it, and he ran away with it.
You're a Winklevoss originalist. I got it.
I mean,
yeah,
really.
Winklevoss truther.
Ta-da, he's lying. So, I mean, you can't look at him alone with the rolling supermodel S's?
Well, while the FANG stocks are taking on water, Netflix is taking on Susan Rice. Susan Rice is joining the board of Netflix, and I know you're at least a consumer of Netflix. Netflix co-founder and CEO Reed Hastings said in a statement, you ready for this?
All right.
For decades, Susan Rice, has tackled difficult, complex global issues with intelligence, integrity, please see Benghazi, and insight, and we look forward to benefiting from her experience and wisdom.
And you know what she's talking about, right? Net neutrality. See, because what people don't realize about net neutrality is you paid for Netflix to expand its bandwidth and to therefore profit. See, we the people paid the cost that Netflix should have had to pay under this guise of net neutrality. People don't realize that. That's why Trump has done some good things in getting rid of that socialized where we're paying for these streaming groups to really profit on our infrastructure we're paying for. That's what net neutrality really was. But they named it, candy corn and lollipops, and everybody loves it.
Well, what about this, though? What about dropping out of these tech companies that obviously don't share your values if you're a conservative and in some respects are predatory with respect to your information, certainly not keeping their promises, as Zuckerberg has not. What about that? Are you still going to consume Netflix? You're still going to buy your iPhone?
They don't know who I am, Prof. Everything's wrong. You think I give them the real information? They're looking at Justin's house for me, for God's sakes. I don't give them the right stuff.
What? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636-DA, turnkey.pro text line. If you're not a super agent man like Sean, able to...
who's the dummy that puts in the right stuff in there?
Yeah, able to misdirect your... geolocation and your personal information to keep the Zuckerbergs of the world at bay. What's your reaction to all that you see going on with these tech companies that are the big dogs on the block, not just financially but culturally in America? What about it? What about Netflix? You're a guy. You talked about
I love Ozarks.
capitalist union. You only want to patronize companies that believe in capitalism.
Correct, and I'll put my money where my mouth is on certain issues. And the other thing is I'll put it into perspective. So Netflix hires an Obama cabinet member because they paved the way for them to make money. It's quid pro quo, or as we know it, the Chicago way.
Like Uber hiring David Plouffe.
Exactly. Are you really surprised by the fact that corporatism is different than, it's different than capitalism. So this is corporatism. This is you make the people pay for our infrastructure, and we'll take care of you and your inside circle forever.
Well, but it's how it metastasizes because government is so ubiquitous in our society, right? You start out with a great entrepreneurial idea like Uber or Netflix, but once you get big enough, then it becomes you're incentivized to engage in rent-seeking behavior, to use government to protect you from competitors, or to like the biggest welfare queen on the block, Elon Musk does, to actually finance your business.
That's the real scam.
But understand, this is not so. There's an entrepreneurship, but then because government is here and they want to get their stake in the next big idea, then you bastardize great ideas with bad people and bad policy.
Which is why the people must educate themselves on the differences and the nuances of true capitalism versus corporatism. Because here's the other side of that coin, Dan, and you're seeing it quietly now in the murmur of Trump threatening Amazon with antitrust laws. See, the reality is at a certain point, government is positioned against the capitalist, against the company. So the company must figure out a way to take the weapons of regulations and laws away. So they capitulate and they coordinate through paying off government.
Well, and hey, speaking of that welfare queen, I was talking about Elon Musk. Neuralink is going to start testing its products on animals. This is to develop brain implants for boosting people's mental capabilities. So Elon Musk is going to create this race of superhuman thinkers, and then he's going to send them to Mars.
Yeah,
on my dime.
Is that ship going to make me think his hair is naturally grown? Let's go to our guy. He's on the line here. Do you see him, number one?
Yeah.
All right, I love him. Big guy. I haven't seen him in a while.
I'm glad I could bring you two back together. Scott Shalady, our friend from Fox Business, is on the line. Hey, Scott. Scott the cow guy.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
The floor is yours.
You know what? I was just going to call in. We've been talking about this a lot lately. I'm calling from London right now, but that tech halo, I think, is beginning to crack. I think Bezos, Musk, and Zuckerberg are going to be in for a tough time here. And I mean, the basic facts are this: I don't know who's behind it. I know that Musk is championing it, but the whole idea of these driverless cars. I mean, are the cars we're buying today really going to be obsolete in 3 to 5 years? And who's behind this? Trucking is the number one industry out of 27 of the 50 states. Are we going to really try, and the government giving grants to people to figure out how to put almost 9 million people out of work? And what about Zuckerberg? And he's using the free internet to take proprietary personal information, which everybody's been volunteering, and I think that's stupid. And I'm not a fan of Facebook, but he's benefiting from government infrastructure, or at least the people's infrastructure, using their own proprietary information against them, or not against them, but he's selling it for his own personal profit. And then Bezos with the absolute destruction of retail and the jobs and the bond defaults that are going to go along with that. So I think slowly but surely, I know, yes, I'm a fan of technology. I'm a fan of disruptive technology. But slowly but surely, I think America's waking up to this fact that, hey, it's not 100% this white city shining on a hill. There are some things that are not quite right with it, and the world's got to figure that out.
Well, and then so Scott, if you see these tech stocks, the FANG stocks, starting to tank, if they're going to have to confront a new reality where it's just not kind of unbounded optimism about the future and them leading it, then are we in store for like a huge market correction? They take the rest of the market down with them.
Well, they took the rest of the market up with them. I mean, that's a bad question to answer your question with. But I mean, everybody wants to talk about leadership. I love it when you go on and you see these guys on the other networks. Who's going to be what sector is going to lead us now that we've seen these FANG techs come? I don't think any other sector is going to lead. I think what's going to happen is we're going to have new, better tech companies come on board that are going to be fledgling and small, and we're going to watch them grow. But that doesn't happen overnight.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that the general perception of the public are starting to wake up to the fact, and I agree with what Sean had to say about Zuckerberg. I'm not a fan earlier on. I feel like, when all this stuff started breaking, I kind of felt like Allen Iverson, right? Remember, practice? Are we talking about – well, I think Facebook? Really? Are we talking about Facebook? I mean, what you had for breakfast this morning, and does this make my butt look big? I mean, really. I mean, it's not that powerful, but people are enthralled. And how come – let me ask you a question. How come we're dragging that guy in front of Congress because he had 50 million accounts breached with their information that they voluntarily put on there, right? Stupid information. But nobody's bringing Equifax to call the carpet for the 150 million people that were breached who had credit card details, bank account details, and their Social Security numbers. What's wrong with America when they're taking Facebook to carpet and they don't have to do anything with Equifax?
But the difference is Facebook wasn't breached; they were complicit. That's a little bit different than getting hacked. They were participating.
But they're complicit. I understand that, but they're complicit with voluntarily, given information.
It's the consumer's perception of his information. The consumer's perception of his information are different between the two companies. Facebook, you kind of know it's going to be public. Okay, you're an idiot. But when you do Equifax, you're guaranteed a certain anonymity there. You're doing it because you want to be protected. But, Scott, I want to remind you something. Remember in 2000 we were in the pits and all the bubble imploded, and the reality was, why did that happen? That was because you had to sell the fact because you bought the rumor, which is exactly what you're doing right now, and that's exactly what this GDP is. That's exactly what our market is now. Sooner or later, you're going to have to sell the fact because we've bought the rumor.
And both of you guys, you know what? How many mutual funds out there hold the same 10 freaking stocks?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean,
going to
be
ugly. Who's going to take it off these guys when they want to get out altogether? It's starting to happen. So, that doesn't look good. And like I said, I think the tech halo is starting to crack, and these guys are going to, another Dennis Green. We are who they we thought they are.
All right, thanks for the call, Scott the Cow Guy. Appreciate it. I'm going to talk to my broker in the.
I told you that earlier today.
The next break.
Yeah, just
got to get out.
Don't go to that Venezuela cyber currency they just created last night.
Thanks for the tip. All right, abandon the market. I get it. Mike in Union, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, Dan. It's Sean. Hey, I got a different spin on this whole Facebook thing. Back when Trump announced that he was going to run for president again, he hired as his campaign manager the gentleman who specialized in Facebook and internet technology and all that stuff. And then all of a sudden, all this Facebook information, which Obama used, now, that we can't use this anymore. Hey, this is the angle, I think, and the fallout is just a bad gamble on their part. That's what I think. I haven't heard anybody mention that.
I mean,
interesting to see what you guys say.
Yeah, I mean, the guy that he hired to be his manager is this kind of digital strategist sort of guy. But I don't. Some of that is puffery, is overblown, because I've dealt with some of these digital strategy groups. They're still kind of in their infancy. There's a lot of separating the wheat from the chaff. You see this with Cambridge Analytica and some of the other firms that have been mentioned in stories that have covered. This whole Facebook, Cambridge Analytica, social media, digital strategy issue. I don't think this has to do with Trump hiring a tech guy to be his campaign manager.
Well,
it's
no,
much
but
bigger than
I
that.
just think maybe they're just thinking that all of a sudden Trump succeeded in this area, whereas Obama did as well. And now that he has, it's a strategic thing to try to take this out from underneath him. That's kind of my angle. So,
all right, thanks for the
guys.
call, Mike. Appreciate it. The other Mike on the north side.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Good morning.
I'm glad to hear you're saying you want to put your money where your mouth is. First thing everyone should do is boycott Amazon and Amazon Prime because they subsidize Woody Allen, the guy that married his 17-year-old stepdaughter and molested his other 7-year-old stepdaughter. Don't have anything to do with him. I have nothing to do with them. I'd rather pay the sales tax. Illinois, they're corrupt, but they're not child molesters.
Oh.
And I tell all my tenants, I see anything from Amazon on the front porch, it's going in the garbage. Amazon uses my big front porch as a drop-off for the block. They put it between the two doors. I get a knock on my door late in the night. A neighbor says, "Hey, Amazon left a package off for me here."
Well,
I just listen. It's on my property. It's mine, pal. It's not the Postal Service. They don't have any special rights.
There's 2 points there. I'll raise you Denny Hassert when you say that Illinois is not child molesters. All right. And number 2, I get my Viking cologne from Norway within 3 days. I don't have to do anything. I'm sticking with Amazon Prime.
Thanks for the call, Mike.
I smell delicious, and you know it. Go ahead.
Brother. Ralph and Rantoul.
Yeah, good morning. Hey, look, I got a friend who is formerly a private equity guy, and he told me, hey, look, Ralph, it's not about profit. It's about cash flow. And he told me real investors don't care about cash flow. I said, well, all right, hang on a minute then. If it's not about net income, profitable, positive net income at the end of your year, how many more suckers, investors do you need for your high velocity cash flow? If you don't make any money, eventually you're going to be out of a job in the real world without new money coming in. Guess what? He's not a private equity guy anymore. He had to shut that down because they weren't making any money, and he took a job someplace.
Yeah.
So Bozo has been able to con people for a long time. Like Sean said, 19 out of the last 20 years, negative net income. And, all the people who talk about cash flow, you've got great velocity in your company, big deal. If you don't have money left over at the end of the year, it means you're not profitable, period.
Thanks,
Full
Ralph.
stop.
Thanks, Ralph.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. On AM 560, The Answer.
I'm Lou Dobbs. More troubles for electric car makers. SUVs bumping passenger cars from the spotlight at the New York Auto Show, and a teenager cashes in on a Snapchat handle. Those stories next.
This is Jack from Banyan Hill. You like freedom? I do. You like money? I do too. If you like freedom and money, then you're gonna love Freedom Checks. You see, over the next few months, an estimated $34.6 billion is up for grabs to anyone who stakes their claim. Yep, you heard right. $34.6 billion. To get all the details, just go to www.myfreedomchecks.com. Thousands of people are already lined up to cash in. Take Doug, for example. He's a 46-year-old from Joplin, Missouri, who's set to get a check for $24,075. And if Doug can do this, I've got a hunch that you can too. But here's the thing. If you want a chance to grab your full share of this $34.6 billion payout, you must have your ducks in a row by May 1st. So don't wait. Get over to www.myfreedomchecks.com before the May 1st deadline. That's www.myfreedomchecks.com.
Tesla shares continue to plummet after concerns raised about the production of its Model 3 electric car. Moody's Investors Services downgrading Tesla because of shortfalls in its production, and the NTSB continuing its investigation of a fatal crash involving a driverless Tesla vehicle. In a sign of changing consumer trends, New York's International Auto Show featuring more SUVs than passenger cars for the first time ever. Toyota, Cadillac, Volkswagen, and Lincoln all rolling out new SUVs, which commanded more than 40% of car sales last year. A 15-year-old who owned the Snapchat handle at Carnival Cruise was tracked down by the cruise line and given a $5,000 cruise for his coveted handle. Please join me for Lou Dobbs tonight, 7 and 11 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
This is Dan Proft with 60 Seconds of Sanity for Upstream-Ideas.com. The main thing we learned from the 3,000-plus school walkouts that occurred and those already being planned for April 20 is who's in charge of K-12 education in America. And that should frighten you more than your average 18-year-old with a rifle or a violent video game. Those pillaging America's schools like Malcolm McDowell and his droogs in A Clockwork Orange are in charge of our schools, not attending them. It's zero tolerance on the one hand and tolerance of everything, including thuggery, on the other. If you're a white kid who scrawls the square root sign evoking a gun on a math assignment, then bring in Jack Bauer and put him on the clock. If you're a minority kid, say in Parkland, Florida, you can threaten to shoot up your school and no one will say anything. Under the guise of racial equity, schools are moving to remove disciplinary consequences for certain students and take discretion away from law enforcement in the process. Neither are teachers immune from the imposition of leftist orthodoxy. Just ask the California teacher put on administrative leave for hazarding a thoughtful discussion with her class about the politics of protests ahead of the walkout. With the politics being pushed on their kids, now is a good time for more parents to wake up and walk into their kids' schools for a healthy stop, look, and listen.
When the need for senior care arises, there's no place like home. Your loved ones should never have to give up living at home. Visiting Angels will provide home care for your mom or dad at home up to 24 hours per day, including personal care, meals, and light housework. You'll select your professional caregiver with Visiting Angels. Look up visitingangels.com or call 877-374-LIVE. That's 877-374-LIVE. Franchises are available. Visiting Angels, America's choice in senior home care.
Build a better basket at your local CVS pharmacy, where it's easy to find everything you need and the sweet deals you want. This week only, fill their baskets with Cadbury mini eggs, Hershey Easter Kisses eggs and miniatures, just 2 for $5. Then fill yours with savings on hundreds of cosmetics like Revlon and Almay, all buy one, get one 50% off. Restrictions apply. See cvs.com/weekly ad for details. Feel good? Save money at your neighborhood CVS pharmacy.
If you still haven't purchased the very best pillow, of course I'm talking about MyPillow, the 4-pack deal is back. So I strongly urge you to go online or call now to make sure you take advantage of this great deal. A great night's sleep is so important, so give yourself the gift of a great night's sleep by ordering a MyPillow. By using the promo code Amy, you'll get the absolute best deal available anywhere. The MyPillow 4-pack deal includes 2 premium MyPillows and 2 Go Anywhere MyPillows at 50% off. I love that I can move the fill to get the support I need, regardless if I sleep on my back or side. I never wake up with a stiff neck or headache. And MyPillow is made in America, washable and dryable, hypoallergenic, and has a 10-year warranty plus a 60-day money-back guarantee. So get your 50% off the 4-pack by calling 800-489-0201, use the promo code Amy, or visit MyPillow.com. That's 800-489-0201, promo code Amy.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I had this crazy thing happen with my eyesight. I went back to get my contact lenses done, and my optometrist, and I'm 46, he said, "This is really weird, but your eyesight is better." I'm like, I can't believe it, but I think it's these vitamins I'm taking.
I'm a huge believer in the product. I've tried lots of stuff, and this is the only real thing that I've ever, because of all these comparisons with all the other stuff I've had, this is by far the best thing, and consistently.
We're so healthy now on the Balance of Nature. There's no words to say how well it works.
Doing good on it, really. I'm feeling my skin is softer, and I feel good.
When you call, use discount code CHICAGO, and we'll take 35% off your first month's order and ship it to you free. Call 800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
AM 560, The Answer.
There you go. Now you're talking.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a hot number there. Coming up at 7:07, a chicken without a head lives for 9 days. Considering considering a run for Congress. And also, we're going to talk about those kids at the march on Saturday. 90% of them weren't. But the 10% who were, did the high school in Parkland, prepare them for this moment? At 7:07, now we check the headlines with Dave Stewart.
Thank you, Dan. Among the stories we're watching today, former Chicago Schools Chief Paul Vallis is set to announce a run for mayor. We'll have all the local news after an update from Fox News on AM 560 The Answer. WIND Chicago, 44 degrees.
Investigating government surveillance abuse. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. There's going to be an internal look at the Justice Department at warrants obtained to keep tabs on a Trump campaign aide before the election. At the White House, here's Fox's John Decker.
Following a request from Congress and Attorney General Jeff Sessions, the Justice Department's Inspector General said that he will review potential Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act abuses by both the DOJ and the FBI. According to a statement, the review will examine compliance with legal requirements filed with the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court and will also review information that was known to the DOJ and the FBI at the time the applications were filed. A memo authored by House Republicans criticized how the FBI obtained a FISA warrant to monitor Carter Page, a foreign policy advisor to the Trump campaign. Chris?
John, thanks. He had this to say about President Trump after his physical in January.
He has incredible genes, I just assume.
And now, if confirmed, Navy Dr. Admiral Ronnie Jackson will be the new Secretary of Veterans Affairs. President Trump's fired Secretary David Shulkin. He'd been criticized for high travel expenses, and a VA watchdog report found a lack of leadership and complacency at the agency. A girl shot as a teenager for encouraging girls to go to school is back in her home country for the first time since. Here's Fox's Simon Owen.
Chris, more than 5 years after Malala Yousafzai was shot in the head by the Taliban for supporting girls' education, the 20-year-old returning to Pakistan.
I still can't believe that this is actually happening.
Speaking at the Pakistani Prime Minister's office, she cried as she described leaving the country after the attack. She said her visit is to continue her education campaign work. Since the shooting, Yousafzai has won the Nobel Peace Prize, founded a charity, addressed the UN, and is now at college in England. Chris?
Simon, a man's arrested in France, accused of shouting death threats and then trying to run over soldiers out jogging this morning. Fox News, fair and balanced.
Good morning. It's 44 degrees in Chicago at 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. I'm David Stewart. Some afternoon rain today with a high of 49. Former Chicago Public School Chief Paul Vallis is running for mayor. He will reportedly file his official bid on Monday. He joins a list of candidates set to challenge Mayor Emanuel. That includes former Police Superintendent Gary McCarthy, former CPS Principal Troy LaRaviere, and businessman Willie Wilson. Major changes coming to O'Hare. Mayor Emanuel signed an agreement yesterday for an $8.5 billion plan to expand the airport.
This will not come with any taxpayer dollars. On the other hand, it will pay dividends for taxpayers for the city of Chicago for generations and decades to come.
The plan was approved earlier in the day by the city council. It will transform Terminal 2 into a global terminal, add more gates, and provide new state-of-the-art security and technology. A Chicago Fire Department lieutenant's accused of punching a colleague at a Far South Side fire station. Police say Leonard Johnson hit another firefighter in the face during a dispute yesterday at a fire station in the 1700 block of West 95th Street. A Cook County judge planning to begin the murder trial of Chicago police officer Jason Van Dyke this summer. Judge Vincent Gunn made the announcement during a hearing yesterday, but he did not give a specific date. Illinois' 2 U.S. senators say there could be some federal money to help fight the Legionnaire's disease outbreak at the Veterans Home in Quincy. Tammy Duckworth and Dick Durbin say there's no specific line item for Illinois, but there is as much as $500 million set aside for state-based veterans' homes. The State Board of Elections looking to get ahead of this summer's automatic voter registration. The board is holding a series of hearings beginning in April. Illinois will automatically register people to vote anytime they get a new driver's license or new license plates. In sports, baseball starts today. John Lester takes the mound for the Cubs in Miami late this morning. James Shields on the hill for the White Sox today in Kansas City. Elsewhere, Bulls are in Miami. Blackhawks host the Winnipeg Jets. News, the service of Accountemps. Finding highly skilled accounting and finance professionals can be a challenge, but Accountemps can help. With Accountemps' extensive network of accounting and finance contractors, you can be sure to find the right person for your exact hiring needs. Visit Accountemps.com to learn more. Accountemps, a Robert Half company. AM 560 News Time 7:04. Traffic in 2 minutes on AM 560, The Answer.
On AM 560, The Answer. Your opinion counts. And we want to know how you feel about the news stories we're talking about each and every day. Make sure to vote in the M13 Graphics Opinion Express poll at 560theanswer.com. Listen for today's poll question at 10:30 a.m., 12:30 p.m., and 3:30 p.m. and hear the results each evening at 5:30. It's the M13 Graphics Opinion Express poll on 560theanswer.com.
Watch today's show live right now on the Income Store live video stream at 560theanswer.com.
Buying a new tractor? You owe it to yourself to visit your LS Tractor dealer. LS Tractors give you a lot more tractor for less money compared to other brands. For starters, LS Tractor comes with more select features as standard equipment. They make operating your tractor easier with better performance to get more work done quicker. Compare and you'll know who gives you more tractor for your money. LS Tractor. Excel in your field. Learn more at lstractorusa.com.
Visit Abbey Equipment in Streeter and get more tractor.
A list of things that will let you down today. Your alarm clock, C-store coffee, public transportation, the office elevator, the sandwich you packed for lunch, the 5th floor printer, your cell phone battery, the shoelace you swore you double knotted, your hard drive, your backup hard drive, and of course, the weather. Brighten your day with something you can actually count on. GoToMeeting is the easy-to-use collaborative meeting tool that 18 million monthly users trust to help them get work done. To learn more about how you can meet better, visit GoToMeeting.com.
You know, it's not too late to service your furnace or too early for your AC. And the company you know you can depend on is the original Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling. They're not one of those massive impersonal companies with inexperienced technicians and subcontractors. Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling sends only their own highly skilled technicians. From service to installation and everything in between, their work quality and customer service is the best. The original Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling keeps homes and businesses comfy and warm. Call Carrie at 847-545-1700 or visit arlingtonheightsheatingandcooling.com. Mention AM 560 and receive 20% off your first service call. That's Carrie at 847-545-1700 or online at arlingtonheightsheatingandcooling.com. The original Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling, not the biggest, just the best.
At 7:07 from the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center, here's Dominic Fortini.
Still the crash on the ramp from northbound I-57 on the northbound side of the Tri-State. That crash blocks off the left lane of that ramp. Traffic snakes by on the right lane and right shoulder. Also southbound 55, just beyond Route 53, you got a car on its roof. It's blocking off the right shoulder with some gapers delays on the northbound side. Closer to home, inbound Kennedy, 38 minutes into downtown from O'Hare, 20 in from the junction, 15 in the inbound express lanes. Watch for some double-digit delays on the inbound Stevenson, Harlem to Kedzie. It adds up to 54 minutes in from 355. Problems continue on the inbound Ryan, 35th Street through the Burns Circle, 40 minutes in from 95th. And hang-ups continue on the inbound Bishop Ford. High-ups from the Stony Island feeder on the Ryan. Traffic answers when you need them the most. I'm Dominic Fortini on AM 560, The Answer.
More of Chicago's Morning Answer next, but now the forecast with meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
A little rain into the early parts of the afternoon today. Wind gusts up to 30 miles per hour with a high approaching 50. Tonight it will be partly to mostly cloudy through the night with a low 33. Sun and some clouds tomorrow, high 50. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
39 degrees at Chicago's Lakefront, 45 at Midway, and 45 at O'Hare. Next news update, 7:30. Continuous coverage of the latest news, traffic, and weather at 560theanswer.com. Chicago's Morning Answer continues now on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas Coffee, a family tradition since 1897.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan, and in for Amy J. this morning is Sean from Elmwood Park. Again, demonstrating my range to spend 2 days at Hillsdale College with deep thinkers.
Yeah.
And then come back to you.
Just because you got a big head doesn't make you a deep thinker. And what kind of an operation are you running? Somebody asked me if I want breakfast. I say yeah, and then I get the tab. And then who made the coffee? Yamana from Barney Miller? Because it tastes like feet. I mean, let's straighten it up. Let's get it to fly right now.
I like the Barney Miller reference. That's about the only thing I've liked so far. Let me ask you this, Sean, and put this out to our friends and listening audience as well. You been impressed with the Parkland students?
Oh, very, very.
312-642.
It's pitiful. I feel bad for them. They're being used like pawns. Like, I mean, they're
Oh, no. You totally got it wrong. I'll explain in a second. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. How impressed are you with the Parkland students that are being profiled by the D.C. Press Corps? The quality of education they must be getting at Parkland, right? At the high school, of the Marjorie Stoneman High School in question. Don't take my word for it. Let me refer you to this fascinating piece in Slate. Of course, this is a left-wing outlet for those of you who don't know. Dahlia Lithwick, her piece, "They were trained for this moment." She's very, very impressed with the wherewithal, the intellect, the rhetorical skills of the Parkland students, such as those were on display on Saturday in D.C. And let me just, give you an example of what I'm talking about.
Me in the eye.
That's remind you of your high school prom day?
I mean, who isn't impressed with that kind of intestinal fortitude in a moment like that? Trained for this moment, they were. That's Samantha Fuentes.
Man, that's rough. There's people eating out there.
Trained for this moment. Listen, Stoneman Douglas students have been the beneficiaries of the kind of 1950s-style public education that has all but vanished in America and that is being dismantled with great deliberation as funding for things like the arts, civics, and enrichment are zeroed out.
She's got the wrong decade. Doesn't she mean 60s?
Yeah, well, 1950s education, that's what liberals think is so great?
Yeah. Poodle skirts and leather jackets, bullying rampant. All right, I'm in.
So this is why there's no toleration of dissent. The 50s-style education system that's still in force at the high school in Parkland. The collapse of schools since that time, that's because of conservative takeover of K through 12 education.
It's because we've been experimenting with your ideas, dimwits.
I mean, this is remarkable. She goes on. Part of the reason that Stoneman Douglas students have become stars in recent weeks is in no small part due to the fact that they are in a school system that boasts, for example, of a system-wide debate program that teaches extemporaneous speaking from an early age. The student leaders of the Never Again Revolt were also in large part theater kids who had benefited from the school's exceptional drama program. Coincidentally, some of those students had been preparing to perform Spring Awakening, a rock musical from '06. As the New Yorker describes in an essay about the rise of the drama kids, that musical tackles the question of what happens when neglectful adults fail to make the world safe or comprehensible for teenagers, and the onus that neglect puts on kids to beat their own path forward.
Yeah, that's what these self-centered, spoiled brats, everything at their whim, need is a little more drama class. I mean, anybody walk among kids other than me? The last thing they need is more drama.
Have you seen these skill sets demonstrated since the awful shooting at Parkland, with maybe the exception of Kyle Kashuv, the one dissident voice that's gotten some platform, some opportunity to say, well, I'm not on board with what David Hogg and these other DC-created stars, quote-unquote, are saying?
David Hogg is somebody to watch. I'll tell you what. They're grooming this kid, and he's got that Yavol down pat, right? And he's wrapping you up in a lot of sentences of nothing, where we just want to feel safe, we want to feel secure. Well, how do we get there? Well, you put us in charge. This is an interesting time, and I always laugh when they compare conservatives to fascists when you have the prime example of fascism displayed by their idols.
Listen to this other piece from this remarkable, this other part of this remarkable Slate piece. One of the extraordinary components of the story was the revelation that David Hogg, student news director for the school's broadcast journalism program, was interviewing his own classmates as they hid in a closet during the shooting, and that these young people had the wherewithal to record and write about the events as they unfolded. I don't know if that's true or not. Could you imagine if that were true, how full of himself this little punk-ass kid is, that he would be thinking about memorializing this, about recording this, getting the story in the midst of his classmates being gunned down?
Meet your 2036 Democrat presidential nominee.
It's rather remarkable, isn't it? And by the way, one of the underreported aspects of this story, the Obama-era rules that turned schools into war zones, that eliminated discipline in schools. We've talked about it.
I've lived it.
Marjorie Stoneman adopted it. And the directive that discourages student arrests, that holds districts liable for actions of school resource officers or other law enforcement personnel. What we found, what policy researchers have found, like Max Eden over at the Manhattan Institute, is schools serving predominantly minority students have been hit the hardest, with the resulting breakdown in discipline, violence, and chaos mushrooming out of control in urban districts. Minnesota, this has been particularly pronounced. And to Trump's credit and Betsy DeVos's credit, they're scrapping this rule of what happened in Parkland. School resource officer not cooperating with state investigators looking into the kid who would become the shooter. The unwillingness to discipline those kids. Unwillingness to report on kids making threats, because it's zero tolerance on the one hand for, as I commented this week, scrawling out the square root sign that looks like a gun on your test, and no and tolerance of everything on the other end. When you've got somebody that is obviously a threat, making threats, and nobody will say anything to anybody.
So the thing I find most ironic and sickening in this whole Parkland story is the reality of what happened is exactly why it is crucially important we protect that Second Amendment. Because the reality of what happened is an absolute breakdown and failure of government that was supposed to protect us, that these kids want us to turn our rights over to. So what you have is, I've lived it, Prof, an indoctrination of kids. And you know what? Here's the sickening part. This doesn't just happen in public schools. This is an agenda that is happening in private schools as well, where they're telling these kids, your parents don't know anything. You tell them what's right and wrong.
Well, it's funny because we played the student barfing, and that's a good representation of it. These are kids in education at K through 12 level, generally speaking, is about they're all men and women without chests, to borrow a C.S. Lewisism from Abolition of Men. There's just the intellect and the appetite, and the appetite always consumes the intellect, and that is precisely what's happening, and that's not a bug in the system. That's what these educators are suggesting is the feature, that there is no chest, there is no heart, there is not an understanding that students need to be taught how to feel about virtue and vice.
Because they're teaching them not to have allegiance to your parents, but to have allegiance to the government, to have allegiance to the system. They're breeding statists. That's what they're doing. And they're doing it by indoctrinating the
There's
kids.
no Tao. There's no Tao. There's no moral code. There's no universal moral code.
That's exactly right.
Holly and Hudson, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Am I in a dream waking up with you two? Oh, my gosh. Hey.
She means me, Prof. Take
No,
it easy.
No, I got it.
Listen, when this all started to happen, I started to play the game in my head of who in my high school would have been the ones, the left wing nuts, to have taken the lead on this. And the funny thing is, years later, they're all conservatives, because guess what's waiting for these kids? It's something really terrifying, scary. It's called everyday life. Yeah. And it has a way of taking all of these rosy pictures and idealism, it has a way of destroying all that. And so you don't have to worry about David Hogg running on the Democrat ticket. He can't get into any colleges he wants to anyway currently. Everyday life will take this out of these kids, and before you know it, they will laugh at themselves like we do at every high school reunion when I meet with these friends of mine.
And some will, and some will go on to be U.S. senators. Thanks for the call, Holly. George and Monique.
Oh, hey, guys. I couldn't agree with the last or disagree with the last lady more. Sean, you nailed it. This kid is anybody who's not scared to crawl up on a pile of his dead friend's carcasses and spew his rhetoric. It's going to go far in politics, entertainment, quote unquote journalism. It'll be amazing to see where this kid winds up.
Thanks, George.
And if you notice, he's not looking for answers, Dan. You notice that with this kid? He's not looking for what really makes kids safer. He's just chanting that ideological, in my utopia of where everyone has nothing, and it'll be great. So that's the scary part. He's not interested in the ideas, which is really, if you can't protect our kids like you protect our money in the bank, then let's just call it off.
And by the way, I mean, unless this is just, kids and let them have their say, and what's the harm in that? The march, Fox News, Washington Post, others reporting, despite how the media wanted to characterize this as kids rising up to lecture their old fuddy-duddy parents and grandparents about what they didn't accomplish, 10% of the march was teenagers.
You couldn't look at the signs. Listen, I'm a real estate broker. You know how long it takes to get a sign printed up, for God's sakes? You see the professional signs, they had banners. This was organized by adults, and adults with big money. And by the time they get the total count of how much money it costs, that's when you'll start to reveal who exactly was behind it.
John in Portage Park.
Hi, Dan. I wanted, like I told the screener, I went to Niles West in the 70s, late 70s, and I graduated in the late 70s. And there were three women, 3 girls, little girls murdered, not little girls, 16-year-old girls, not at the same time, 2 and then 1 separately. And there was no comfort dogs, there was no counseling, and I just wanted to know basically when it all changed, what year, like 1990 or 95?
Yeah, I mean, thanks for the call, John. I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
When we
I don't know
started
if I can
blaming
pinpoint
innocent
it, but
people for the actions of the guilty, that's what you're hearing, and you hear it in every one of these things. You're blaming innocent people for the actions of the guilty. Why do you think there's this huge push on CNN and all these news networks to abolish the Second Amendment? They're not interested in the guilty. They want to punish the innocent.
yeah, I think it changed as K through 12 education changed, and those in charge of K through 12 education changed.
It's changed in Vietnam.
And, well,
when all the communists became our society.
Bob in Buffalo Grove, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, Dan and Sean, have you ever heard of the person Max Frost?
Max
I don't know. I've
Frost.
had a lot of
Wild
guys
in the
after
Street?
me.
No, Max Frost, no.
You ought to take a look at the movie Wild in the Streets from 1969. It was about a dystopian society where the under 30s took over the country.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And listening to Mr. Hogg, I'm hearing him and the young kids wanting to literally take over the country because the old people don't know how to run it. So go get the DVR or get the DVD of Wild in the Streets.
Amazon, and it'll be
Thanks for the
streaming
call, Bob.
at the Elmhurst Cigar House at 9:15 this morning.
Bill in LaSalle County.
Hi, good morning, Sean and Dan. I've got a young man who's a senior at a premier Catholic private boys high school, and you can't even. And my wife's a teacher also, but you can't hide and protect your kids from this indoctrination because in high school, when they're taking the AP classes, they're using the college materials and the college textbooks for these AP classes. And one of the examples was his history class, and that the colonials came to America not for freedom, but basically to subrogate the Indians and promote slavery was actually in the textbook.
Thanks for the call, Bill. Tom in Deer Park.
The narrative that you guys were playing earlier about how this was going to be the students' moment because of their prior training in extemporaneous speech and in theater, that really, and you touched upon it a little, Dan and Sean, but it really lays it out for what this was almost instantly. And it's my opinion, it's demagoguery because they have these abilities with the complete inability to be able to understand what it is they're talking about. It's raw, it's emotional, and yes, they are trained in this. They're made for cable TV. They're very telegenic. They have no idea what they're talking about. And now, you know, if you comment about what they say, you're picking on the kids, and this is pure demagoguery on their part. And it's, you know, again, the adults that should know better are lapping it up because it fits their narrative, and I think it's really embarrassing for our discourse. Your thoughts?
Yeah, thanks for the call, Tom. I got an idea, too, for the today's film festival at Elmhurst Cigar House.
All right.
We'll start with Wild in the Streets, where the under 30s take over, and then we'll go to Logan's Run, where you're eliminated by the age of 30.
I like it. I think it's great, and we'll fit in Yuri Bezmenov in the meantime.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
If you own a business, you'll do everything you can to keep the lights on. The thing is, keeping those lights on can be much more cost-effective than you ever imagined. And Twin Supplies can help. Twin Supplies specializes in helping businesses, public entities, and nonprofits get energy efficient with their lighting and take advantage of incentives from utility companies to help with energy improvement costs. From restaurants to schools, churches, and stadiums, they'll walk you through every step to realize maximum money savings and energy efficiency. Your maintenance staff will spend less time changing bulbs with worry-free fixtures that feature up to a 10-year warranty. Plus, the quality of your lighting will improve, resulting in improved working conditions and safety. Find out how much your commercial business can save with a free energy audit from Twin Supplies. Utility companies change their incentives frequently and funds can run out. Now is the time to take action. Don't wait. Call 630-590-5138 or log on to twinsupplies.net and take charge of your business's energy efficiency. Twinsupplies.net.
Stan Proft, I'm excited to tell you about the Dangerous Camp for Boys and over 20 other summer day camps from Northridge Prep. What's Dangerous Camp? It's a camp designed to get your boys off their iPads, iPhones, and video games this summer. It's dangerously fun, not unsafe. They throw water balloons, play games, and learn the meaning of outdoor adventure. As a listener to the morning show, you've heard me talk about Northridge Prep, the all-boys school in Niles that instills the traditional values you hold as parents. Their summer programs for boys in grades 1 through 8 combine fun, adventure, and character growth. You won't find camps like this anywhere else. A few camps caught my eye, like basketball camps led by former NCAA Division I coach and varsity players, battles of the Civil War, bugs and botany, intro to musical improv, even a robotics camp where campers learn to build, pilot, and code their own robots. Get your son off the couch, develop his chest, to borrow C.S. Lewisism, and into the outdoors. You can learn more and register online at northridgeprep.org. That's northridgeprep.org.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I was surprised at myself how much energy I had, and I'm doing 2 jobs, running around like a maniac, and I was able to handle it. Really, I'm like, wow, this stuff is really good. So, more than anything else, it just gave me the extra energy and the well-being, feeling of well-being that I don't think I would have without it.
Well, I take it every day, and I feel great. And my wife looks at me and says, how come you never get sick? And I do. It's because I take the fruits and veggies.
I just feel a lot better. My life is turning around. Everything is working for me.
It just helps me feel good. I just think the products are wonderful, and I take them every day. I just like it. It works.
When you call, use discount code CHICAGO, and we'll take 35% off your first month's order and ship it to you free. Call 800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
When the need for senior care arises, there's no place like home. Your loved ones should never have to give up living at home. Visiting Angels will provide home care for your mom or dad at home up to 24 hours per day, including personal care, meals, and light housework. You'll select your professional caregiver with Visiting Angels. Look up visitingangels.com or call 877-374-LIVE. That's 877-374-LIVE. Franchises are available. Visiting Angels, America's choice in senior home care.
Build a better basket at your local CVS pharmacy, where it's easy to find everything you need and the sweet deals you want. This week only, fill their baskets with Cadbury mini eggs, Hershey Easter Kisses eggs and miniatures, just 2 for $5. Then fill yours with savings on hundreds of cosmetics like Revlon and Almay, all buy one, get one 50% off. Restrictions apply. See cvs.com/weekly ad for details. Feel good? Save money at your neighborhood CVS pharmacy.
Are you stuck in a bad home mortgage? Well, join the club that has about 10 million other American families. But I may be able to help you. My name is Lou Bridges. I'm an attorney with the law firm of Lou Bridges & Associates. We've been helping distressed homeowners like you for over 8 years now. Give us a call. We provide free consultations. I guarantee you it will not be a sales pitch. We will give you our honest legal analysis, counsel, recommendations, and advice regarding your options.
We are experts in doing loan modifications successfully. We know the regs. We understand the process. Most importantly, we don't take no for an answer. We fight. We are prepared, and we win. We save houses. We make houses affordable. So if you want to keep your house affordable, contact us.
Go to bridgeslaw.net or call 224-513-1231. That's 224-513-1231.
Remember, people, never give up the land. Fight for truth and justice. You do that, I guarantee you'll never be alone in this country.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Sean from Elmwood Park in for Amy J this morning. And coming up at 7:37, we're going to pick up our conversation about the damage Trump did to himself politically, signing that omnibus spending bill, as well as the continued reordering of his cabinet with Matthew Continetti, editor of the Washington Free Beacon. That's at 7:37. Now we check the headlines with Dave Stewart.
Thank you, Dan. Good morning. It's 44 degrees in Chicago, 731 on AM 560, The Answer. A little afternoon rain on tap today, a high of 49. President Trump is forcing Veterans Affairs Secretary David Shulkin out. Mark Mayfield reports.
He'd recently come under fire for a trip to Europe last year that his wife attended on the taxpayer's dime. Trump says he's going to nominate his personal doctor, Admiral Ronnie Jackson, for the role. On Twitter, Trump said he was thankful for Shulkin's service to the country and our great veterans. Mark Mayfield, NBC News Radio.
White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders dodging questions about the Sacramento police shooting of an unarmed black man.
The president's very supportive of law enforcement, but at the same time, in these specific cases, in these specific instances, those would be left up to local authorities to make that determination and not something for the federal government to weigh into.
Stephon Clark was shot to death in his grandmother's backyard this month when police thought his cell phone was a gun. His funeral is today. Uber settling with the family of an Arizona woman killed by a self-driving car. The law firm of the family of Elaine Hertzberg has reportedly said they have reached an agreement with Uber. Former Chicago Public Schools CEO Paul Vallis is running for mayor. Multiple news outlets report Vallis will file his official bid with the State Board of Elections Monday. And investigations underway after a woman was carjacked at the Oak Brook Center Mall. Police say the victim was sitting in her Honda Civic in the mall parking garage yesterday morning when another car blocked her in. An armed man then got out, stole her purse, and then her car. The city of Chicago is putting its weight behind a $300 million plan to keep Asian carp out of the Great Lakes. Mayor Emanuel says the city will back the recommendation from the Great Lakes Basin Partnership to beef up the barriers at the Brandon Lock and Dam near Joliet. In sports, baseball starts today for real. John Lester takes the mound for the Cubs in Miami, and James Shields is on the hill for the White Sox today in Kansas City. Elsewhere, Bulls in Miami, Blackhawks host Winnipeg. News, a service of Staples. Staples knows that running out of ink is no way to do business. Help keep your business working and your printers printing. Go to Staples for a huge selection of ink and toner and find your ink in stock every time and at a low price every day so you can meet every deadline. Staples, it's pro time. AM 560 News Time, 7:33. Traffic in 2 minutes on AM 560, The Answer.
The DACA deadline came and went. Big deal.
The Joe Walsh Show.
Congress isn't capable of doing much, and I really don't want Congress doing anything when it comes to DACA. Here's my deal, guys. Build the wall, secure the border. Nobody should be in this country illegally. That's not complicated. Build the wall, secure the border. Nobody should be in America illegally. There's my comprehensive immigration reform.
The Joe Walsh Show. Weeknights starting at 5. Right after Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Progressive Insurance, offering its Home Quote Explorer so shoppers can evaluate options in one place when buying home insurance. Custom quotes and rates are available online. Learn more at progressive.com.
Earnings vary based on your effort. Do you want to learn how to make money flipping houses right here in Chicago? If so, we have an amazing opportunity for you. We're looking for a small group of motivated individuals to join our real estate investing team. You'll learn our simple 3-step system for flipping homes right here in the local area. This is Than Merrill, star of A&E's hit TV show Flip This House. My team and I are looking for a handful of people in the Chicago area who want to learn how to make money flipping houses in your spare time using other people's money. Chicago is a perfect market for my system, and this week I'm holding a free 2-hour educational workshop where you will learn how to make money flipping homes and how to build long-term wealth with income properties. To get 2 free tickets to Than's workshop, call 1-800-900-9144. Seating is extremely limited. Call right now because this free ticket offer expires this Friday. That's 1-800-900-9144. That's 1-800-900-9144.
At 7:35 from the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center, here's Dominic Fortini.
Inbound side of the Kennedy on the brakes, Irving Park to Armitage, 28 minutes in from O'Hare, 18 in from Montrose, 20 in the inbound express lane, southbound delays between the junction and Harlem, 30 minutes downtown out to O'Hare. Still plenty slow on the inbound Ike, Austin through the Burns Circle, a new lane configuration at the Burns Circle not helping things, 47 minutes in from Thorndale, 34 in from Manheim. Hefty slowdowns inbound Stevenson, Harlem to Kedzie. Also seeing some thick traffic around a crash southbound 55 just after Route 53. Inbound Ryan, 40 minutes, 95th into downtown with hangups beginning right near 35th. Traffic's a service of account temps. Finding highly skilled accounting and finance professionals can be a challenge. Account temps can help. With AccountTemp's extensive network of accounting and finance contractors, you can be sure to find the right person for your exact hiring needs. Visit AccountTemps.com to learn more. AccountTemps, a Robert Half company. Traffic answers when you need them the most. I'm Dominic Fortini on AM 560, The Answer.
More of Chicago's Morning Answer next, but now the forecast. Cloudy, breezy today. Little rain in the early afternoon, a high of 49. Partly to mostly cloudy tonight, low 33. Tomorrow, partly sunny with a high of 50. Right now, it's 44 degrees at O'Hare. Next news, 8 o'clock. Continuous coverage of the latest news, traffic, and weather at 560theanswer.com. Now, more of Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 on your mobile device. Now available on iHeartRadio. Online at iHeartRadio.com.
Some call me the sage from South Central. Others call me the czar of common sense. But you can call me Larry Elder. And you're invited to join me tonight, starting at 7, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan. And in for Amy this morning is Sean from Elmwood Park. And Sean, it seems to me President Trump and frankly a lot of House Republicans up for re-election, facing difficult re-election battles, who voted for this omnibus spending bill, in addition to President Trump, of course, signing it, may have greatly underestimated the negative reaction it is generating from the base and how it seems more likely to imperil their political capital and their re-elections than buoy their interests.
I hope so.
And look at this. I mean, Washington Examiner, Trump's problem with his base just grew 10 times bigger, and pointing out this letter written by the board members of Advocates for Victims of Illegal Alien Crime. These are some of the people who campaigned with Trump, people whose families have lost a family member, had a family member severely injured by predators who are in this country illegally and in many cases multiple times deported, but we still can't keep predators out of our country. And it's a real problem that is universally admitted, but it has not been properly dealt with. This letter starts, open letter to President Trump starts with, how could you? How could you? Your excuse that you had to sign the omnibus bill for national security reasons is as empty as the claim of sanctuary cities that they need to protect criminals to reduce crime. They openly complain about money for the wall not being there. Maybe you can build a beautiful picket fence. Money for sanctuary cities continuing to be there. It really takes the president to task. And if you're going to lose your energy on that issue with that constituency, then he may be looking up at 42 to 45% approval rating, seeming to inch up. But that is going to be a road to nowhere with the enthusiasm deficit Republican office holders are facing come November. And I think this just dug the hole that much deeper. But for more of a view on that, we're pleased to be joined by Matthew Continetti, who's the editor of the Washington Free Beacon, contributing editor to the Weekly Standard. Matt, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
What about the calculation by President Trump, Paul Ryan, Mitch McConnell, Republicans, about passing and the president signing this omnibus spending bill? Did they underestimate what the reaction was likely to be?
I think so, and I think the president probably got rolled on this one. I think he trusted Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell to work out the details, and he was also heavily influenced by Secretary Mattis, who really stressed the priority of funding the military and getting it back up to its kind of pre-Obama strength. And, of course, that is a top priority of President Trump, and he campaigned on that. At the same time, though, it does seem that he did not get nearly what he wanted on, say, the wall and on some immigration enforcement measures. And that's just basically, I think, because he wasn't paying attention. You see him now visibly kind of influenced by the reaction against this bill, and now moving to saying, well, actually, I'm exploring whether the Defense Department can appropriate funds for the wall, because that, too, is a national security issue.
The pre-Obama spending of military is kind of a ruse, isn't it, Matt? I mean, they get the baseline budgeting in even the sequester. So the fact of the matter is they're already spending significantly more than the emergency levels they want you to believe is happening, right? And as a conservative, I believe that any Republican that touched this should have the repercussions of losing his office. That until we do that kind of house cleaning, we're really on this same hamster cycle where every, 3 months before an election, they're conservatives, and then they get in and they spend more money, create more debt, the usual, right?
I think one big difference here is that the House Republicans and congressional Republicans don't really understand why Donald Trump won. And they still haven't really come to terms with the fact that the party is not the same party that they think it is. And Donald Trump won by really distinguishing himself on a few issues, primarily immigration, trade, retirement security, and kind of a more skeptical posture toward preventive war, right? He ran against the Iraq War and won the Republican nomination and then the election on that. Well, if you look at the Republicans in Congress, I mean, they're on the other side of all those issues from President Trump. And so it makes sense to me that they would come up with this kind of dog's breakfast of an omnibus bill in order to get out of Dodge and go on vacation and begin planning their reelection campaigns. As you point out, though, it's unlikely to help them. And right now, even though the generic ballot is closing the gap between Republicans and Democrats, and even though President Trump's approval rating has been rising in recent weeks, I think this doesn't give Republican base voters much reason to be enthusiastic about the election in November.
With respect to the Russian collusion investigation and that matter that hangs over the president's head and likely will into the midterms, is it starting to really turn his direction? I point to yesterday's announcement that Michael Horowitz, the Inspector General for the Department of Justice, is launching an investigation into alleged FISA abuses by the FBI, in addition to the failure of Mueller to produce much of anything on point with respect to the initial rationales for this investigation, bringing in still the prospect of Hillary Clinton and what may or may not have been going on in the Obama administration. That seems to be getting a little bit more pronounced. Is that aspect of what he's got to deal with in terms of impediments to policymaking, is that starting to turn for him, or is it just kind of still a muddled mess, too soon to tell?
Well, I think he's been trying to bring on more aggressive lawyers. And remember, last week we thought he had scored Joe DeGeneva and Victoria Tunsing, who are some of the toughest conservative lawyers in Washington, D.C. Unfortunately, they had a conflict because they were representing somebody else who's been entangled in the Mueller probe, and so they didn't join his team. I think President Trump does want to take a more aggressive stance toward Mueller. I don't think he's necessarily going to fire him anytime soon, but I do think he wants to be prepared to kind of challenge the premises of this investigation. And I also stress there are some conflicts of interest with Mueller himself, and he has facts on his side on that. I'm not actually sure Trump really pays all that much attention to the Russia story, in the sense that he clearly thinks it's all a hoax. He likes pointing out these conflicts and misleading statements, like I say on Twitter. But when you look at it over the past couple of days, he's really been focusing on changing the nature of his cabinet and making his cabinet much more in line with what he wants. And so that's what you saw with the move with the Veterans Affairs Administration just yesterday, and then, of course, earlier the changes at State and the National Security Council.
But the question is, should he be more focused in on that? Because is there any doubt in your mind that if Democrats do take control of the House, and possibly the Senate as well, but let's just assume the House for the sake of this discussion, in November, that they will not pursue impeachment against the president, even if there's nothing more then than we have now, just the cloud hanging over him?
Yeah, and I think that's one reason why Trump is concerned about keeping the House in November. He's been raising quite a bit of money, actually, for Republicans and for his own campaign in 2020. He's been stressing that Democrats will raise taxes and will be bad on the border if they get into power. He's telling everybody on Capitol Hill that he's willing to go and campaign for their re-elections. Now, the problem is, like I say, is Republicans think that Trump is a liability, when in fact I believe he's an asset. That it is really the Republican Party is in danger this year because they don't they don't understand why Donald Trump is president. They still believe in kind of multilateral trade deals with no real enforcement. They still believe in kind of this idea of comprehensive immigration reform with some amnesty for the illegal immigrants who are here. And until they come to terms with the fact that their voters are against them on those two policies as well as others, they're in a bad position.
I kind of think the omnibus that they presented, the Republicans created and presented, shows you there really is virtually no difference between the Republicans and the Democrats. But I had a question about the Mueller investigation. I was optimistic when this started because I had always felt the real scandal in the Russia investigation would be that they would stumble upon the evidence that showed the Clinton Foundation, the Uranium One, the front group in Canada owned by a Russian. I also am a fan of this Peter Schweitzer, and in his new book, he talks about the Rosemont that is really primarily Joe Biden's son, Hunter, and Kerry's stepson, and their connection to a Russian oligarch in the Ukraine. But the reality is he's not interested in actual collusion between America and Russia. He's just interested in Trump people and Russia. Is that what I'm seeing here?
I think it's pretty clear. Yeah, he's the Mueller investigation is a missile directed at Trump. I mean, there's no question about that. And in fact, I think actually Mueller seems to be almost led by the media more than Mueller is leading the story here. You know, there time and time again you'll see like big stories pop up, like when Fire and Fury was published earlier this year, and then all of a sudden you see reports that Mueller's calling in the people who were quoted in the Michael Wolff book. Well, that's a little bit odd. If you were, if you're an investigator, shouldn't you already be aware of these things? And you look at like the New York Times story that was released yesterday about this reported discussion between one of Trump's lawyers who's no longer there and lawyers for Michael Flynn and Paul Manafort last year about possible pardons. Well, I'm sure we'll see a follow-up story sometime saying, oh, Mueller's going to look into that too. So I think Mueller, the problem with Mueller investigation has always been he's had an extremely broad mandate. These special counsels always become kind of self-sustaining. They go on for years. They always move away from their initial reason for existing. I saw calls over the last weekend for Mueller to investigate the Stormy Daniels controversy. I mean, it has nothing to do with Russia, you know?
Yeah.
So it's a big problem, and you would think that Trump would have more support on Capitol Hill, say, for reining in Mueller, and that hasn't materialized either.
He is Matthew Continetti, editor of the Washington Free Beacon, contributing editor to the Weekly Standard. Matthew, thanks always for joining us. Appreciate your insights.
Thank you.
And he joined us on the Turnkey.pro answer line.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Okay, today it's going to rain until your wiper blades are not necessary. That should be around 10, but odds are they're wrong. It's going to get up to 48. It's going to do the same thing till Easter, and then you're going to be freezing. The high will only be 36. It's the same weather report as 40 years ago in the 70s, and no science has affected it. They're wrong on that front, too. And now we're going to go to my guy, Dominic Fortini.
Things looking all right across the Chicago area, at least for the most part. Inbound Kennedy, 28 minutes in from O'Hare, 18 in from the Junction. A little bit slow in the express lanes at 22 minutes. Hang-ups Addison into Randolph. Inbound Ike, 49 minutes in from Thorndale, 34 in from Manheim. Watch for those thick delays between Central and the Burns Circle. Speaking of slowdowns, inbound Stevenson, heavy Harlem to Kedzie, 58 minutes in from 355, 48 in from the Tri-State. Inbound Ryan, 40 minutes in from 95th. Hang-ups begin right near 35th. Meanwhile, northbound Lakeshore a little bit slow off the Stevenson. Northbound Tri-State got a crash blocking the left lane right near the 83rd Street Toll Plaza. Traffic answers when you need them the most. I'm Dominic Fortini on AM 560, The Answer.
Upstream-ideas.com, premium content that complements what we do each morning in this show, long-form interviews in our Against the Current series, podcast of our Illinois Rising program that airs Sundays at 3 p.m. on these airwaves, covering state policy and politics. My 60 Seconds of Sanity commentaries, 2-minute warnings from Pat Hughes at the Illinois Opportunity Project. Heart of the Matter, that's our series featuring women speaking, professional women speaking collegially about the important issues of the day. And our Follow the Logic Man on the Street segments. And then don't forget our sister site, defendhomeowners.com. Defendhomeowners.com. Get a free property tax report on your home. Also some 2017 home sales data in the Chicago metropolitan region that may be instructive if you're looking to get out, as you probably should be. All the property tax info, home sales info at defendhomeowners.com, everything else at upstream-ideas.com.
As a business owner, you have hundreds of decisions to make on a daily basis. It's beyond needing to pay bills, keeping employees happy, or what the next step is to grow your business. Part of your stress can be making sure you're protected in a time of crisis. Can you trust that your insurance provider is going to be there when you need them most? When you're looking for a partner who's there for you in your most desperate times, call Insure with Us. You won't have to wait on hold to talk to an agent who's unfamiliar with your policy. Speak directly to who wrote your policy when you have any urgent question or need. Don't hesitate. Get it done today. Get a free quote in less than 24 hours at lowcostinsurance.biz. Choose from dozens of top insurers across the U.S. Insure with Us focuses on finding you the best coverage for your business and for your family. Visit them today at lowcostinsurance.biz. Insure with Us. Coverage for the things that matter most. The following is a paid political announcement.
For decades, our country has lived through the greatest jobs theft in the history of the world. Our factories were shuttered, our steel mills closed down, and our jobs were stolen away and shipped far away to other countries, some of which you've never even heard of.
And who's responsible for those lost jobs? Career politicians. Senator Joe Donnelly profited from Mexican labor, and Congressman Todd Rokita and Luke Messer, they voted to fast-track Obama's trade deals. Donnelly, Rokita, and Messer let Indiana jobs go to China and Mexico and sat on their hands. We can't trust them to bring good jobs back. Businessman Mike Braun, conservative, Christian. Mike Braun will help President Trump make America stronger than ever before.
I'm Mike Braun. I approve this message.
Paid for by Mike Braun for Indiana.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I'm Mark Gastineau. I played in the NFL for 10 years. I was diagnosed with CTE, with dementia, Alzheimer's, and Parkinson's. The fruits and vegetables that we take from Balance of Nature is the best thing that we could ever do. And I'm calling in now to order extra because of my wife has been taking mine because she sees a difference in me. It is a wonderful thing that Balance of Nature is doing. I hear the testimonies on the radio, but I'm a testimony for myself. And the fruits and vegetables, if I don't take them every single day, my day is not going to go the same. So God bless you, and thank you for what you've done for my wife and I.
When you call, use discount code CHICAGO, and we'll take 35% off your first month's order and ship it to you free. Call 800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
You know, it's not too late to service your furnace or too early for your AC. And the company you know you can depend on is the original Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling. They're not one of those massive impersonal companies with inexperienced technicians and subcontractors. Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling sends only their own highly skilled technicians. From service to installation and everything in between, their work quality and customer service is the best. The original Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling keeps homes and businesses comfy and warm. Call Carrie at 847-545-1700 or visit ArlingtonHeightsHeatingandCooling.com. Mention AM 560 and receive 20% off your first service call. That's Carrie at 847-545-1700 or online at ArlingtonHeightsHeatingandCooling.com. The original Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling, not the biggest, just the best.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Amanda Zanger, owner of Black Industrial and Safety Supply in Hammond, Indiana, and a business customer of Signature Bank. Prior to owning my own business, I worked for a major financial institution. So when it came time to finance the acquisition of Black, I approached a big bank, only to receive a solid no. That's when Signature Bank stepped in. With Signature Bank, the process was different. Signature provided creative financing options that enabled me to purchase Black and continue to grow the business. Thanks to Signature Bank, Black Industrial is able to continue serving Fortune 500 industry fabricators and contractors with tools and safety supplies as we have since 1893.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Latoria Brothers Construction Company is a proud sponsor of AM 560 and Food for the Poor. Turn to Latoria Brothers Construction Company for all your commercial, industrial, or retail construction needs. New construction, renovations, interior remodeling, facility expansions, and tenant owner build-outs. Latoria Brothers Construction Company has you covered from start to finish. From design concept through construction completion, Latoria Brothers offers a single-source proactive approach. Their family has been providing a high level of excellence in service, reliability, and experience since 1948. Latoria Brothers. They'll modify services to accommodate your construction needs no matter what size and scope. Consulting, design, build, construction management, general contracting. Achieve your vision and dream for your facility. Save time and money. Make Latoria Brothers part of your construction team. Quality workmanship on time, on budget. Visit LatoriaConstruction.com or call 630-766-3036. Latoria Brothers. Shaking hands, not fists.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Sean from Elmwood Park in for Amy. And Sean, I know you're not much of a sportsman.
Men in costumes chasing balls. Now they're philosophers.
They're also social justice warriors. They're SJWs, particularly in NFL, and it's not limited to the field. You also have them in the owners' boxes. Monday, a social justice program was approved by NFL owners unanimously to give $90 million in social justice initiative cash. No decision, by the way, on how to handle players refusing to stand for the national anthem. So you can look forward to more protests this season to the extent you're watching, and you can look forward to the NFL's ratings continue to dip. 10% ratings decline in the 2017 season year over year. $90 million. The entire league will kick in $73 million for social justice causes, divided up by between three groups. $25 million going to United Negro College Fund. Okay. The rest split between the Dream Corps and the Players Coalition. The Dream Corps is the offspring of one Van Jones.
They don't do they get it? We just want to see them hurt each other. That's it. That's all we want to see you do. The minute Lambert stopped playing, I turned it off. Never watched it since.
Sure, the Steel Curtain.
Oh, loved them.
Jack Lambert, Jack Ham.
He hurt you and then spit on you.
Mean Joe Green, Donnie Shell. That was a
Loved
team.
it.
That was a team. That was back when men played football. Van Jones's charity.
Oh, gee.
Charity.
Let me guess. It's throw money at Van Jones till he passes out.
Yeah, he's a cause celeb. The United Negro College Fund, one thing. Van Jones' Dream Corps, and using it for, obviously, political and policy advocacy from the left, because that's what Van Jones, longtime Obama suck toy, is. And this is the NFL doubling down on their left-wingism, just as ESPN has done, even with the change at the head, and even with the new president of ESPN saying, we're a sports organization, not a political organization. There's what you say, and then there's what we see you do.
Van Jones, the only Democrat with worse hair than Chucky Schumer. He should spray some Pam on there and feathers.
Okay. I don't really know how to respond to that, so I'm not going to. All right, coming up at 8:08, we're going to talk about success for our young people. It turns out that sequencing is the key to success. And also, Sean Penn takes a shot at writing a book.
How'd it go?
Not great. We'll have that at 8:18, but first we check the headlines with Dave Stewart.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Sean. Among the stories we're watching today, former Chicago school CEO Paul Vallis is set to announce a run for mayor. A Chicago fire lieutenant is being charged with a misdemeanor after a firehouse brawl. The city is moving ahead with plans to overhaul O'Hare Airport. In sports, the baseball season opens today. It's the Cubs in Miami and the White Sox in Kansas City. Elsewhere, the Bulls are in Miami. The Blackhawks are hosting the Winnipeg Jets. Little afternoon rain. We'll see a high of 49. An update from Fox News now on AM 560 The Answer. WIND Chicago, 44 degrees at 8 o'clock.
President Trump's on the attack against Amazon. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. The president tweeting about the company this morning. Live at the White House, Fox's John Decker.
President Trump went after Amazon on Twitter, writing that unlike others, they pay little or no taxes to state and local governments, use our postal system as their delivery boy, causing tremendous loss to the U.S., and are putting many thousands of retailers out of business. In fact, Amazon collects sales taxes across the country in states that have a sales tax and where Amazon has a physical presence with distribution centers. But a sales tax often is not collected on purchases made from third-party sellers that appear on Amazon's website. Last year, Amazon raked in $5.6 billion in profits, but essentially paid zero in federal income taxes. At the White House, John Decker, Fox News.
And Amazon has the same owner as the Washington Post, a frequent critic of the president. Outgoing Veterans Affairs Secretary David Shulkin writes, "It should not be this hard to serve your country." President Trump's replacing him with Navy Dr. Ronnie Jackson. Shulkin writes in a New York Times op-ed, he's against the idea of privatizing veterans care and that he was falsely accused of things by people who wanted him out of the way. He's accused of ethics violations involving personal travel at taxpayer expense. A school shooter has been getting fan mail.
Some women have been sending sexually suggestive photos to Nicholas Cruz, the accused gunman allegedly behind the killing of 17 people at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Florida. The Sun-Sentinel is reporting one woman from Texas professed her love to Cruz in a letter covered with smiley faces. Yet another sent him photos of her in a bikini. Other apparent fans have sent him about $800 for his prison commissary account. But prison officials screen all letters to inmates, and he hasn't been allowed to see them.
That's Fox's Jill Nato. 68 people are reported killed in a fire after a riot at a jail in Venezuela. Fox News, fair and balanced.
Good morning. It's 44 degrees in Chicago at 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. I'm David Stewart in for Mike Scott. A little afternoon rain today with a high of 49. Former Chicago Public School CEO Paul Vallis reportedly will file the official bid to run for mayor with the State Board of Elections on Monday. He joins a list of potential challengers to Mayor Emanuel that includes former Police Superintendent Gary McCarthy, former CPS Principal Troy LaRaviere, and businessman Willie Wilson. Major changes are coming to O'Hare. Mayor Emanuel signed an agreement yesterday for an $8.5 billion plan to expand and overhaul the airport. Senators Dick Durbin and Tammy Duckworth say there could be some federal money to help fight the Legionnaires' outbreak at the Veterans Home in Quincy. Meanwhile, Governor Rauner is defending his health director, Eric Raymond, who took a leave of absence in 2016 to work on political campaigns in the midst of the Legionnaires' crisis that started in 2015.
Well, there were no Legionella cases around that time that you're referring to, but I'll say it's fairly standard practice, and I don't think it's unreasonable.
3 cases were diagnosed 2 months before Raymond's departure. The disease returned in 2017. 4 new cases confirmed last month. The Cook County judge is planning to begin the murder trial of Chicago police officer Jason Van Dyke this summer. Judge Vincent Gahn made the announcement during a hearing yesterday. He did not give a specific date. Mayor Emanuel is scheduled to testify today in the wrongful death lawsuits brought by the families of Quintonio LeGrier and Betty Jones. They were shot and killed by Chicago police officer Robert Rialmo in 2015. The city's police oversight agency called for Rialmo's firing, but Superintendent Eddie Johnson calls the shooting justified. An investigation is underway after a woman was carjacked at Oakbrook Center Mall. The police say the victim was sitting in her Honda Civic in the mall parking lot yesterday morning when a Toyota Camry blocked her in. An armed man then took her purse and her car. In sports, Cubs in Miami late this morning to start the baseball season. James Shields on the hill for the White Sox in Kansas City today. Bulls are in Miami. The Blackhawks hosting the Winnipeg Jets. AM 560 News Time, 8:04. Time for a look at the AM 560 Business Beat. And from the Fox Business Network, here's Carol Zimmer.
From the Fox Business Network, Facebook shares have been diving lately because of problems over sharing users' personal information. Now, Facebook says it's going to limit the information it exchanges with companies that collect and sell consumer data for advertisers. Shares of mail delivery service Blue Apron have also been dropping. The company is facing competition from Amazon and Walmart, which are now offering meal kits that consumers can prepare at home. 2 car makers looking to combine. Renault and Nissan are reportedly in talks to merge and trade under a single stock. as a shift toward electric and shared cars changes the industry. And the chances of you being audited by the IRS are dropping. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Carol Zimmer.
AM 560 News Time, 8:05. Traffic in 2 minutes on AM 560, The Answer.
Larry Elder breaks the bad news to Hillary Clinton.
30% of the people who voted for Donald Trump had voted for President Obama.
A third of the people that voted for Trump voted for Obama, and that they felt that there wasn't enough progress in their own lives, and that's why you lost Hillary? Had nothing to do with women being unduly influenced by their bosses, boyfriends, husbands. You just lost.
The Larry Elder Show. Weeknights at 7, right before Jay Sekulow at 9 on AM 560. The Answer.
Don't forget that you can watch Chicago's Morning Answer on the Income Store live video stream every morning at 560theanswer.com.
Buying a new tractor? You owe it to yourself to visit your LS Tractor dealer. LS Tractors give you a lot more tractor for less money compared to other brands. For starters, LS Tractor comes with more select features as standard equipment. They make operating your tractor easier with better performance to get more work done quicker. Compare and you'll know who gives you more tractor for your money. LS Tractor. Excel in your field. Learn more at lstractorusa.com.
Visit Abbey Equipment in Streeter and get more tractor. GoToMeeting is the collaborative meeting tool trusted by over 18 million monthly users. But how do we make the concept of 18 million more real for you? Well, if you wanted to travel 18 million miles, you could go to the moon and back 36 times and still have a few miles left over for a detour. $18 million could buy you 4.5 million non-fat iced lattes, which would keep you caffeinated from now until the end of your career. Or if you took 18 million standing desk breaks, well, you'd probably be in great shape. Visit GoToMeeting.com to learn why so many people trust us to help them get work done.
At 8:07 from the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center, here's Dominic Fortini.
In Winfield, this train is stalled across Winfield Road, which is blocked between Beecher and High Lake. Also, an Oakbrook crash Spring and 22nd, and a crash in Downers Grove at Ogden, a little bit west of 355. Inbound Kennedy, 36 minutes from O'Hare to downtown, 26 in from the junction, 22 in the inbound express. Outbound, finally starting to see some hangups just beyond the junction through Harlem. Inbound Ike, 53 minutes in from Thorndale, 38 in from Manheim with delays on the inbound Stevenson. Tying up traffic, Harlem to Kedzie, 58 minutes in from 355. Inbound Ryan remains heavy from 47th in the locals on in, 40 minutes, 95th in the downtown. Watch for double-digit delays northbound Lakeshore from the Stevenson to Balboa. Also problems northbound Tri-State near 111. Traffic's a service of Staples. Staples knows running out of ink is no way to do business. Help keep your business working and your printers printing. Go to Staples for a huge selection of ink and toner and find your ink in stock every time and at a low price every day so you can meet every deadline. Staples, it's pro time. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Dominic Fortini on AM 560, The Answer.
More of Chicago's Morning Answer next, but now the forecast with meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Today, rather cloudy and breezy with a little rain into the early afternoon, high 49. Tonight, partly to mostly cloudy, low 33. Sun and some clouds tomorrow, high 50. Clouds thicken at night with a late night shower, low 37. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
It's 40 at the lakefront, 45 Midway, 45 at O'Hare. Next, the news update at 8:30. Continuous coverage of the latest news, traffic, and weather at 560theanswer.com. Chicago's Morning Answer continues now on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas, best beans, best roast, best coffee.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan, and in for Amy J. this morning is Sean from Elmwood Park. Sean, you are the father of two daughters.
Yes. Yes, I am.
You want them to be successful, independent adults?
As long as they get out of the house, yes. Yes,
Right.
I do.
Well, successful independence, the
Yeah.
sooner the better, right?
No, I would. Yeah, of course, every parent does.
So are you teaching your kids the sequence of success?
You know, it's funny. Dads to girls know what I mean. It's till they're 11 and a half. It's the greatest experience of your life. It really is. You come home and their daddy's home, and it's just wonderful. Come on, let's do it. They're all in. And then that 12 hits. And then the minute you start talking, they can't help it. They just say, shut up. And I never was told shut up, other than you.
Right.
You know, by anybody. It's the weirdest thing. And you just kind of, now I just try to avoid them. It's like living with bobcats. You just hope they're in a good mood and you can get them to purr. Just don't make eye contact because they'll attack you.
I think you're in need of some prof parenting tips, which we'll get to.
Oh, yeah.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636-DA, turnkey.pro text line. Are you teaching your kids the sequence? And that sequence is the secret to success. And what I'm referring to is something I mentioned previously, but Wendy Wang, who's the director of research for the Institute for Family Studies, has given it more form than I have previously, which is the previous statement that I made is the data. If you want to never live in poverty,
Marry a Pritzker.
Well, that's one way. But there's 4 things that if you accomplish, you have a 99% chance of never living in poverty, and it has nothing to do with the government. Get a high school diploma. Go to work. Any work. Anywhere. Just work. Get married before you have children. Don't commit a crime. Is that too much to ask?
Well, there goes politics. Can never go into politics.
But those 4 things, and you can effectively eliminate the welfare state. If you demand those 4 things of your children, if society demands those 4 things of its citizens.
Well, I like the advice very much. I would prefer it came from somebody with kids and someone not named Wang. But okay, I will prefer it.
Okay. Well, here's Ms. Wang's research. And she compares this to where she grew up. Having a child outside marriage never crossed my mind. In the small city where I grew up, it isn't done. Even today, fewer than 4% of births in China are out of wedlock. The same is true in India, Japan, and South Korea. For the vast majority of young adults in Asia, the path to success clearly runs through education, work, and marriage in that order. Education, work, and marriage in that order. Sequence as the secret to success.
So here's what I do. I go to work every day. My wife works a lot. Okay? My kids have never seen me intoxicated. I've only tried to live by an example of how a man is supposed to live. Now, does that mean my temperament is great? No, they've seen me yell at strangers, pull a bus driver out of a window, that kind of thing.
Sure.
But
of course,
I think the good outweighs
things that
the
happen
bad.
in the course of everyday life.
Exactly.
Who hasn't pulled a bus driver out of a window?
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
he did cut me off, the son of a gun. Then he flipped me off, which that's it. Game over. And you know what's funny is the reaction by 2 kids. So I have one kid that's just like her mother, and she's panicking, screaming, "Oh, my God, I'm going to tell Mom." And then I have the other kid looking at me going, "Great show, Dad. Great show."
Great
so
show.
I can't wait to see what's going on.
I've got the bail money, Dad.
Exactly.
Just like you gave it to me. So here's some of the data for millennials. Tracking a cohort of young adults from their teenage years to early adulthood, a national longitudinal survey of youth, sociologist Bradford Wilcox and Miss Wang recently looked at the 3 success sequence steps. Education, work, marriage. Ages 28 to 34. 53% of millennials who had failed to complete all 3 steps were poor. The poverty rate dropped to 31% among millennials who completed high school, 16% among those who had a high school diploma and a full-time job, and 3% who also put marriage before the baby carriage. Among childless and unmarried millennials, 28 to 34, who follow the education and work steps, the poverty rate was under 10%.
Yeah, well, I get that. But here's my beef with this. I know a lot of very, very successful guys. I'm talking very successful, good dads, earners, not drug addicts and drunks, and live what I think and what you would think is a wonderful life, and they were raised by their mother.
Well, of course. No. Of course that's true. Of course there are heroic single parents who raise great kids. Of course that's true. Yeah. We're saying, what is the ideal?
Yeah, I understand that.
What's the ideal? I mean, this is Charles Murray's book, Coming Apart. Those that don't preach what they practice. The Champagne Socialists who practice capitalism, who work diligently, who build wealth, who make sure their kids are educated, who got married before they have kids, but run cover for less productive behavior.
Sounds like every alderman in Chicago.
Well, but okay. Well, I don't know about that, but I mean, so the point is to say, the flip side is this, right? If you want to go to extremes, Mike Rowe, of course, Mike Rowe from Dirty Jobs and
Yeah, big fan, sure.
yeah, all the Discovery shows. A couple years ago, when Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt were getting divorced, Jolie was quoted as saying, "It never even crossed my mind that my son would need a father." I was struck by her comment, writes Rowe. I remember wondering how many other Americans might share her view. At the time, I didn't think many, but today I'm convinced the number is significant. I'm also amazed at how quickly fatherhood has fallen out of favor. Can you imagine a celebrity, or anyone for that matter, saying such a thing just 20 years ago? I know this is controversial, and I'm sorry to inject an uncomfortable element into a post, but it's important to consider the possibility that the thing we like to call an epidemic of bullying, for example, is really an epidemic of fatherlessness. I think it's also reasonable to conclude that our society is sending a mixed message to men of all ages, and the mixture is not helpful. So the point is, yeah, I understand you could have a single mom, a single dad, that the life intrudes, that everything isn't going to be a nice and tidy nuclear family. The point is to say, here's a model that we know works.
Mm-hmm.
And so even if you're that single mom or single dad, you still can process your kids through the sequence to success: education, work, and marriage.
But you have to do it by example. I was always bothered by the drunks in the neighborhood that would tell their kid, "Don't be like me." Be like, so you have to
Yes,
live it.
understood.
You have to, and that's the beauty of it. And one person can do it. It's great when two people can do it.
Right.
But the reality is it's time for the adults in society to stop giving advice they don't do. Stop giving advice they don't apply themselves.
Well, I mean,
So,
this is right. This is the I don't preach what I practice problem, because that Murray points to. It's also this idea, and this is, I mean, Mike Rowe is late to the dance on this. This is cultural. The whole redefinition of marriage and redefinition of biology is predicated on men don't matter and dads don't matter. You think that's true?
Well, that movement started, about 30 years ago?
Alan in Rockford, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We also have to interject the fact that the government has created a business model that discourages the nuclear family.
Yes.
And it's under the guise of helping and compassion. So that has to be brought into the formula of what's going on as well.
Well, that's right. Thanks for the call, Alan. That's exactly right. And this is government intervening between parents and children, because family and religion are the two impediments to government control.
And I'm going to tell you, Dan, it's the schools. Because the minute the parents aren't paying for their schools is when they stop being that interested in it. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm sure there's, hey, I hope you're doing good in school. But when you know this because you know me and I complain about it all the time. When you're paying a significant chunk of your salary in tuition, you are demanding a little bit more production from your kid than just knowing the fact that all you have to do is just kick them out the door and they're going to go off to some public school and they're going to take care of it. So I think it's the fact that we've alleviated the responsibility of being a parent from the parent in schooling primarily. Get rid of the idea that parents aren't paying for schools. Forget about letting the old lady who raised her kid 40 years ago pay for your kid's school. I want to restructure the way school is financed.
Well, but I mean, you see the good examples and how they play out, and you see the bad examples and how they play out in the headlines every day. So the good examples and how they play out. I was at Hillsdale College for the last two days, and they signed an honor code at Hillsdale. It's a non-sectarian Christian school, but founded by abolitionists, by the way, way ahead of the learning curve, 1844. They signed an honor code at Hillsdale College, and what you see at Hillsdale is very much like I described when I attended the Iowa caucus in 2012, an implicit culture of trust that runs counter to our explicit culture of mistrust in this government-centric dystopia called Chicago, Illinois. At Hillsdale, you see computers all over the place. You see people reserving like a spot where they want to sit in the lunchroom by just putting their smartphone down. In point of fact, with the student who gave me a campus tour, she was saying they actually did an experiment at Hillsdale College. They put a $2,000 laptop on a table in one of the cafeteria areas. It sat there for a week. Nobody touched it. The point is, it's a community that's
So then nobody from Chicago goes to Hillsdale?
yeah. Well, it's predicated on honor and trust, and not just autonomous responsibility for yourself, but also the duty you owe others. And that's what's missing. And that's what's missing from the curriculum in K through 12 education, generally speaking.
The only one that the Chicago public school system is good for is a teacher nearing retirement.
Megan, on the south side, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hi, guys. I just wanted to make the comment that it seems to me, I mean, like Sean just said about the fatherlessness and stuff, that trend started 30 years ago. That was also around the time of the feminist movement. I mean, my question that I always come back to whenever anybody talks about this kind of thing is, how come nobody holds women accountable? The feminist movement. How are men supposed to be men and fathers supposed to stay in the home if women are, women don't have any traditional roles? Are women, are we unable to, are we unlivable? Can you, that's my question, I mean.
Thanks for the call, Megan.
Around 50? Yeah, it changes a little. No, I'm kidding. Here's the thing, though. That it's not just the welfare or the women's movement. You know what? It also is Roe v. Wade. Think about the mentality of a kid when a mother is explaining to a kid, which you're seeing now, younger and younger, they want you to explain abortion to the kid.
Kids are disposable, so are men.
And the kid is looking at its mother, tell him, look, I had the right to eliminate you should I want to. I mean, you got to feel like a capo in a crime family. I hope the boss doesn't get worried. I get whacked. It's insane to me.
Planned Parenthood, Pennsylvania, tweeting out this week, we need a Disney princess who's had an abortion.
Oh, that'll
be good. We need
a
Disney princess who's pro-choice. Everything is politicized, and everything is about from the feminist movement, is the autonomy of women. Everything else is disposable. Everybody else is disposable.
How does that Cinderella story play out if she had an abortion?
Good question.
Yeah, Prince probably has.
I'm not sure they've written the conclusion yet. John in Romeoville.
Am I on?
Yeah, you're on.
Yeah. The traditional method doesn't always work. I'm married 40 years, 5 kids, sent them to private high school, showed them how to work. I still got 3 at home in their 30s.
Mm-hmm.
They went off to university, came back different people. The university teaching is incredibly difficult to overcome what I taught them when they were young.
Yeah, okay. That's a fair point. Thanks for the call, John.
Well, the thing, too, that's going on there is Obamanomics.
But by the way, it is just worth pointing out the study that I referenced. High school, work, marriage.
Yeah.
That was the longitudinal study of these millennials. Now, this is not to say that kids shouldn't go to college, but it's also not to say that they should. And there's nothing that's fail-safe, so I understand young people can still go off the rails even if they're doing this sequence. We're just talking about the overwhelming likelihood of being independent and successful, being able to take care of yourself and be a productive citizen in society if you follow this sequence. That's all.
I thought college was, for me, I couldn't stand it. I couldn't wait to get out of it. And I remember visiting friends. I have my best friend's an attorney. The other one's an engineer. I would go and visit them after I was working at the Mercantile Exchange, and I would see how they lived. And I would say, you live like animals. This is how you're learning? It was disgraceful to me. So for me, it wasn't right. But, it's an individual thing, too.
Yeah. It's an individual thing, whether you want to.
I went to the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, baby.
Yeah. You wanted to make money rather than pile up $200,000 in debt. Harry in Hawthorne Woods.
Oh, you could do that, too, at the Merc.
Good morning, guys. How
Sure.
you doing?
Yeah.
Good. How are you?
Good. Getting back. Wow. All right. Getting back to the study. All right. I just have another objection to it again. The old maxim in statistics is simultaneous occurrence does not imply causation.
Mm-hmm.
It is quite probable. It is. That's the truth. It is
Yeah, I
quite
know it's the
probable. Yeah. Well, it's quite probable that the people who would have been successful anyway undergo these 3 things, irrespective of whether or not they occur longitudinally. Okay. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't disagree with the fact that the father's in the home is a big issue and all that stuff. There are too many other factors to make this as simple as, okay, high school work marriage. I think that's kind of a naive approach.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
Especially when it's
She's
coming
selling
from a
book.
guy who's not married.
Harry. Actually, it's not because she's selling a book. It's not just because she's selling a book. And there are certain things that over, say, 2,000 years of Western civilization turn out to be to put you on a path more likely to success than not. You want to argue about whether the poverty rate among millennials would be 12 or 15% controlling for the simultaneous occurrence does not equal causation argument. Fine, we can have that argument. It doesn't obviate the underlying morality or likelihood of success by choosing what we know to be true about human beings living the life well lived.
Dan and Amy are talking about it. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
If you still haven't purchased the very best pillow, of course I'm talking about MyPillow, the 4-pack deal is back. So I strongly urge you to go online or call now to make sure you take advantage of this great deal. A great night's sleep is so important, so give yourself the gift of a great night's sleep by ordering a MyPillow. By using the promo code Amy, you'll get the absolute best deal available anywhere. The MyPillow 4-pack deal includes 2 premium MyPillows and 2 Go Anywhere MyPillows at 50% off. I love that I can move the fill to get the support I need, regardless if I sleep on my back or side. I never wake up with a stiff neck or headache. And MyPillow is made in America, washable and dryable, hypoallergenic, and has a 10-year warranty plus a 60-day money-back guarantee. So get your 50% off the 4-pack by calling 800-489-0201. Use the promo code Amy or visit MyPillow.com. That's 800-489-0201, promo code Amy.
Are you facing foreclosure, been foreclosed upon, in a bad modification, or just stuck in a bad mortgage? Well, we may be able to help you. My name is Lou Bridges. I'm an attorney with the law firm of Lou Bridges & Associates. We've been helping distressed homeowners like you for over 8 years now. We defend foreclosure actions. We bring claims against the banks and the servicers for wrongful foreclosure and other violations of mortgage servicing regulations. And we help people negotiate modifications of their existing mortgages, often including principal reductions. Give us a call. We provide free consultations. I guarantee you it will not be a sales pitch. We will give you our honest analysis, counsel, and advice regarding your options.
Hi, this is Rayanne from Lou Bridges & Associates. I am one of the loan modification processors here, and if you are in need of any additional information in regard to a loan modification, please contact the office.
Go to bridgeslaw.net or call 224-513-1231. That's 224-513-1231.
Remember, people, never give up the land. Fight for truth and justice. You do that, and I guarantee you'll never be alone.
Did you know that studies have shown that we need over 10 servings of fruits and veggies every single day? If you're like me, it's hard to find the time and money to prepare and eat all of those fruits and vegetables. Who can do that? Yet we know that proper nutrition can prevent health problems, give us energy, and help us heal faster. Balance of Nature has spent over 20 years researching and delivering solutions to this problem. We can ensure that you consume over 30 different fruits and veggies every single day. Our capsules are filled with 100% real whole foods. There isn't a single thing added to Balance of Nature products. They're pure. We spent an incredible amount of time on the quality of our products. We do this for you. We do it for our own families. Give yourself a break and give your body what it needs. Call now to receive 35% off your first Balance of Nature order. Call 1-800-2468-751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
The following is a paid political announcement.
For decades, our country has lived through the greatest jobs theft in the history of the world. Our factories were shuttered, our steel mills closed down, and our jobs were stolen away and shipped far away to other countries, some of which you've never even heard of.
And who's responsible for those lost jobs? Career politicians. Senator Joe Donnelly profited from Mexican labor, and Congressman Todd Rokita and Luke Messer, they voted to fast-track Obama's trade deals. Donnelly, Rokita, and Messer let Indiana jobs go to China and Mexico and sat on their hands. We can't trust them to bring good jobs back. Businessman Mike Braun, conservative, Christian. Mike Braun will help President Trump make America stronger than ever before.
I'm Mike Braun. I approve this message.
Paid for by Mike Braun for Indiana.
It's tax season. Are you prepared? Do you need help? It's time to call your trusted tax advisor, Timothy C. Wolf, who's a CPA with over 35 years experience in tax planning and preparation. Tim is knowledgeable about the current as well as the new 2018 tax legislation. Tim will complete your return while you wait, where possible, or in as little as 48 hours. And he'll have your tax return electronically filed with any refund being directly deposited to your account. As a Food for the Poor business benefactor, Tim challenges new and existing clients to contribute to Food for the Poor, with any new client contributions matched up to $50. Call 847-818-0400 to schedule an appointment. All new clients will receive a 20% discount off their 2017 tax preparation fees, as well as a free review of your past 3 tax returns. 1 in 3 reviews have resulted in refunds up to $50,000. Now is the time to call or text Tim at 847-818-0400 to schedule your appointment, or go to timwolfcpa.com to find out more.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Sean from Elwood Park in for Amy J this morning. And coming up at 8:38, one Evanston school superintendent talks of how schools have become more prone to bullying since Trump's election. We'll pick up.
You didn't grow up in Melrose Park, baby. And by the way, you notice how the music's better when I'm here? That's right.
I didn't notice that.
All right, yeah.
We'll pick up the discussion at 8:38. Now we check the headlines with Dave Stewart.
Thank you, Dan. Good morning. It's 44 degrees in Chicago at 8:30 on AM 560, The Answer. Little afternoon rain on tap with a high of 49. White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders says President Trump is not threatening to go after Amazon right now, but his latest tweet may tell a different story. NBC's Kristen Welker told the Today Show what the president had to say this morning.
I have stated my concerns with Amazon long before the election. Unlike others, they pay little or no taxes to state and local governments, use our postal system as their delivery boy, causing tremendous loss to the U.S., and are putting many thousands of retailers out of business.
Axios has been reporting that Trump has been looking at Amazon's tax treatment because of the impact the online giant is having on small retailers. North and South Korea will hold an Inter-Korea Summit April 27th. It's the first summit of the two Koreas in more than a decade. Former Chicago schools boss Paul Vallis is apparently jumping into the race for mayor. He's expected to officially announce his challenge to Mayor Emanuel Monday. A Cook County man freed after a wrongful murder conviction is now fighting to stay in this country. Prosecutors dropped the case against Ricardo Rodriguez because of a discredited police detective. But during his nearly 20 years in prison, Rodriguez was stripped of his legal residency and then taken into custody by ICE when he left prison in Pontiac yesterday. His sister, Maria Rodriguez Lopez, said he should be allowed to stay here.
They took away his residency in 2003 for a crime that he did not commit. And I'm actually demanding that they give him back his residency because this was a big injustice that they did to our family.
Rodriguez was brought to America as a child. His family is all here. Mayor Emanuel reportedly was beyond outraged about dirty conditions revealed by inspections of 125 of the city's schools. The Chicago Sun-Times reports he and several aldermen want immediate cleaning of the schools found with dirty floors, rodent droppings, and smelly bathrooms. They also want answers from the janitorial contractor Aramark. In sports, baseball starts today. John Lester on the mound for the Cubs in Miami. James Shields on the hill for the White Sox today in Kansas City. Bulls in Miami. Blackhawks host the Winnipeg Jets. The news is service of Lowe's. Pro customers at Lowe's, you can save 5% every day when you use your Lowe's Business Credit Account. That's 5% on all purchases in-store or online. Subject to credit approval, U.S. only. AM 560 News Time 5:34. Traffic in 2 minutes on AM 560. The Answer.
Mike Gallagher urges you to keep a level head.
And this is a budget that, again, except for the military portion, we're going to be back to the same place we are today, October 1st. We get carried away and we get very depressed. Our highs are too high. Our lows are too low. And we've just got to take a breath and realize that a lot can happen between now and October.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Sheet metal is a big part of commercial and industrial facilities. Look around your business and you'll quickly notice how many components use sheet metal. From fan systems and hoods to machinery guards and much more. For top quality sheet metal work, get to know the pros at Vans Industrial.
Hi, I'm Dave Van Camp, owner of Vans Industrial. Vans Industrial is an industrial sheet metal contractor that can fabricate all types of alloys up to 1-inch plate. We perform jobs including chutes, hoppers, stacks, siding, and dust collection. We work in material handling facilities including steel, chemical, agricultural, food processing plants, and more. Vans Industrial can also design and perform the engineering for a complete turnkey installation. Our quality work is installed by trained mechanics who will work closely with you to make sure the job is done right.
Call 833-VANS-IND for a free inspection of your facility. Interested in what else they do? Visit vansindustrial.com. That's VANS Industrial.com. Quality craftsmanship since 1964.
At 8:35 from the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center, here's Dominic Fortini.
A couple of new issues out there. CTA Red Line trains headed toward 95th are standing at Bryn Mawr as crews work to restore service. Personnel are working to restore that train. Allow yourself extra time. Also, westbound 8094, 2 left lanes are blocked Brand to Kennedy with a new crash. And in St. Charles, southbound Randall shut down at Redgate. Kane County authorities are on the scene, not really divulging much information at this point. Inbound Kennedy, 30 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, 20 in from the junction, 22 in the inbound express. Inbound Ike, 56 minutes in from Thorndale, 38 in from Manheim. Watch for that new lane configuration near the Burns Circle. Double-digit delays continue. Inbound Ryan, 38 minutes, 95th in. And we remain tight down the northbound side of the tri-state between Ridgeland and the 83rd Street Toll Plaza after an earlier crash. Traffic answers when you need them the most. I'm Dominic Fortini on AM 560, The Answer.
More of Chicago's Morning Answer next, but now the forecast. Cloudy, breezy today, little rain into the early afternoon, a high of 49. Tonight, partly to mostly cloudy, low 33. Tomorrow, a partly sunny day with a high of 50. Right now, 44 degrees at O'Hare. Next news, 9 o'clock. Continuous coverage of the latest news, traffic, and weather at 560theanswer.com. Now, more of Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas, best beans, best roast, best coffee.
When you've got questions, he always has an answer. It's Sean Hannity this afternoon at 2, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan, and in for Amy this morning, Sean from Elmwood Park. And Sean, this is fun. From an alert caller who, I guess, listens to WGN so that we don't have to. That roly-poly clown, Steve Cochran, and apparently was talking about this discussion that I'm going to have at the City Club in May with former Illinois Republican Party chairman turned lobbyist for left-wing interests, Pat Brady. And they called me representative of the hate segment of the Republican Party.
I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to remind you of something. A couple years ago, when I would go downtown occasionally and I'd meet you at that fancy club with the wood on the walls. What's the name of it?
Skyline.
There you go. And Pat Brady back then loved you because he loved the fact that you would give him the principles he pretended to have. You remember this? And I met him at a lunch function. I can't remember what the deal was. And I told you at that point, this guy's as phony as a $3 bill.
Yeah.
I spotted him a mile away. He's like Durkin and Bill Brady and the rest of these scoundrels. Pretend to stand for something. In the meantime, they're getting their payoffs from Gold Rush Gaming. They're funneling all the nonsense to lobbyists. They pretend to hate things just in case their little sector can profit from it. Lowlifes, and they're feckless, and they're the reason you're in this. They love second place because it pays better than first place, and the attention is quieter. And they're all becoming millionaires.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro. Answer line 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line.
Sean was right again segment.
Yeah, no, boy, we could do that segment for hours.
For
and hours on
the
end.
whole morning could have been this.
So the question is, since Pat Brady, as a representative of Bruce Rauner and his campaign,
the First Lady, get a stick?
Want to excommunicate conservatives, as I've said before, and refer to conservatives like me, like Jeannie Ives, who got 49% of the vote in the primary. They're fringe. they're haters,
liars,
they're bigots, and all of the name calling that substitutes for their ability to defend the underlying substance of their position. What are you going to do about it?
I'm going to send boxes to Rauner. He's going to need him. Pack up that office and get out of there. Then he's going to have to lower the seat so Pritzker's feet could touch.
Well, you talk about the enthusiasm deficit being experienced by Republicans at the federal level and how signing that passing and then the president signing that omnibus spending bill last week is going to depress a base that feels like they were betrayed by that policy choice. And Rauner's policy choices, and now doubling down, tripling down, quadrupling down on those policy betrayals, from taxpayer funding of abortion to sanctuary state to bailing out the Chicago public schools to junk science on gender, all of those policy betrayals from the guy with no social agenda, not in addition to the low-life campaign that he ran, the entire thing predicated on a lie to cover his betrayals. And now their response to all of that, all of those experiences, covering those betrayals, lying about people telling the truth because they couldn't tell the truth about themselves, is to say the people who voted for Jeannie Ives and people like me are haters and bigots, and they should basically be out of the Republican Party. To that I say fine. Out of the Illinois Republican Party. But for those of you who supported Rauner because they are ignorant or willfully blind, they think that money translates into viability, and they just did it because they thought he had a better chance of winning. That lame argument by the unprincipled. But for those people, do you still think so now?
I called him a saboteur 3.5 years ago. I saw the agenda for what it was, and the decision process, you know how I feel about it.
Well, I mean, this is very much, this was like what Bill Bennett said about the Chicago public school system 30 years ago, which is the Ku Klux Klan could not design a system more destructive to minority children than the Chicago public school system. Well, the Pat Brady and Bruce Rauner and the enemies inside the perimeter could not lead the Republican Party in the state in a way more destructive to the Republican Party.
It's the same cycle, and it's the same investment guys giving Chicago the same loans where they make 3% more because it fails. And you keyed on a hamster wheel, and it's going to be different. The Republican gets in, and he does worse than paint chips Pat Quinn could have done.
The only thing that's unfortunate about this is you have a lot of good candidates at the legislative level that are conservatives. You have a lot of good
Skillicorn.
You have got a lot of good legislators, people in Springfield that are rebuilding the Republican Party on a foundation of conservative reform in the House and to a lesser extent the Senate caucuses, but to some extent in both. And there's the prospect of change on the horizon, but you've got at the leadership level people saying get out of the party. Well, you had twice as many Democrat primary voters as Republican primary voters, and now their strategy, those people in charge, is to tell half of that electorate that was half the size of the Democrat primary electorate to go away. Okay, tell me how that argument holds up then about winning.
What's Pat Brady's lobbying firm recovering or making in revenue this year? They're going to do great. The more we're in a corner, the more money these guys make because you keep going to them for help. They keep screwing you over. That's the game.
Well, he's on the other side. I mean, the money is from the left.
Of course it is.
It's not like he's lobbying for anti-tax or property tax reform or pension reform his interest. No. He lobbies for Equality Illinois and all the left-wing organizations. That's how he makes his money. That's why he sidled up. I mean, when he was Illinois Republican Party chairman, his main interest was Tom Dart for mayor of Chicago. He was mainly interested in elevating his Democrat of choice for the mayorship, because the whole play here is I don't care about policy. I care about my financial interests and just me and my friends having the run of the place.
I'll have that condo up for sale by 10 o'clock this morning. We'll find you a nice place in Naples, Florida. I'll show you how the beach is to walk. You're going to love it.
Sounds good. Kurt in Park Ridge.
Hi. I've never missed an election in my whole life. I have to vote. And I've always voted Republican. I voted for Jeannie Ives. I love her. What a mistake it was that she's not our nominee. But I'm going to make a protest vote, and I'm going to vote for Cash Jackson, the Libertarian, which I never thought I would do, but I don't think there's a choice right now.
Cash is actually a good kid. I know him. He's actually a really good kid. And I'd love to see the Libertarians break that 5% threshold just to throw a wrench in the scam of districting. That's the only. I mean, I think that's huge.
Ballot access. But for those people, I mean, just want to make this point. Understand that instead of trying to unify the parties, because they'll try and put this off on haters like me, who are not falling in line. What the Rauner Republican Party has chosen to do is to concede the election. And what you chose to do when you voted for Rauner, if you did, was to concede the election because they are saying, get out. We got this. We don't need your help. We don't want your participation. So fine. But understand whose responsibility it is and what position those in those posts of authority are taking on this matter. They, through their mouthpieces, media whores like Pat Brady, are the ones who are pushing people out of the Republican Party.
And those are the lobbying firms that will be in charge of the reefer distribution centers that no one will get to open that isn't connected to government. Those are the ones that get the Dotties and the Phils and every truck stop waitress gaming casino. Those are the ones who are controlling the money.
Vince in St. Charles.
Good morning, guys. If they want me to leave the party, I'll tell them what I'll do. I'll leave to Indiana. I'll say,
Vince, how am I going to make money on a commission if you go to Indiana? Naples, Florida, Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
I'm not going to Florida. I'm not going to Florida. I'm sorry. Okay, and I have the neighbor, right next to me. He's 23 years old with his girlfriend. We talked about the tax situation. He's trying to get his girlfriend to move to Wisconsin. Okay, he says, I'll pay for the extra gas because he already knows that Illinois is gone.
They have girls in Wisconsin. Tell them there's girls in Wisconsin.
Well, he's taking his girlfriend with him.
Yeah.
So he's moving, 23-year-old kid. My niece is going to college. She's out of here. I mean, there's no one going to vote for the Republican Party. If they want us to leave, we'll leave.
No problem.
Again, it's not hate. It's common sense. So,
well, yeah, that's one perspective. Thanks for the call, Vince.
You
Appreciate
could
it.
stay just dressed like the Tidy Bowl man.
Tom in Schaumburg.
Hey, let's not forget Tim Snyder, an absolute despicable display of hatred towards Jeannie Ives this election night. In fact, a friend of mine got a flyer from him saying he should vote for Rauner. He folded it up and put it in a sympathy card and sent it back to him along with a note. My family and I were sorry to hear about your mental retardation condition. We'll be voting for Jeannie Ives. Good luck, and that was it. But yeah, she lost by a couple of points. But Rauner has no hope. And I want to ask you something. If Republicans go out and vote for Pritzker, what does that do to the fundraising ability of guys like Schneider and Brady?
Oh, they're all gone. Thanks for the call, Tom. I mean, Rauner is their meal ticket, which is why they fall in line. They don't care about policy. So, but when he goes and his money goes with him, then they have the interest on the rail that otherwise fund them at pennies on the dollar to what they fund the Democrats. It's all over.
You know the name of Tim Schneider's boat? Boobs on a Bull, and they're as useless as he is. Another Cook County Republican, useless, feckless goofball. The only difference is, unlike Pete Silvestri, this guy doesn't work for Gold Rush Gaming.
Rich and Niles.
Yeah, I voted for Jeannie Ives. I voted for Eggerman. But my thing is that if you're going to have Rauner running, and which there's no doubt he will be running, and we have the choice between him and Pritzker, and you don't elect Rauner, you're going to have Pritzker, you're going to have a graduated income tax and whatever else the Democrats like to do.
Yep,
I can't imagine.
Yeah, that's what we're going to have. That's
it's going to be price-controlled donuts, too. So there's an upside.
Thanks for the call, Rich. Yeah, that's exactly what we're going to have. And that's the representation we chose on March 20th. John in Peatone.
Hi there. Well, while being an election judge, and people should understand election judges know exactly who you are and how you're going to vote after a while, I believe that Jeannie Ives lost not because of Jeannie Ives. Jeannie Ives lost because there were so many people upset with Rauner that they made the comment, several of these voters that I know were conservative Republicans voted for someone else other than just to get away from Rauner and
you mean
Trump. They were mad at Trump.
You mean
so they figured for voting for the Democrat, they would get rid of. Yeah, I mean,
they took a
Jeannie
Democrat
Ives
ballot. They took a Democrat ballot instead of Republican.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
Yeah. Thanks.
Because they were pissed at Trump. That's right. Screw Illinois, right?
Thanks for the call, John. Yeah, okay. It's a fair point, interesting observation.
Florida has zero income tax.
I'm aware.
All right.
As does Tennessee and Texas.
I know, but Florida's got beaches, bikinis. Sean.
Chris in Riverside.
I just can't wait to take Pat and Tim and the establishment up on their offer not to vote for Rauner. I'm just dying for November. I am dying to see Rauner go Titanic on us, because then we're going to know exactly how bad things get, and all of us are going to have to make our real existential decision about here or elsewhere.
Thanks for
and I hear Sean about Naples. Who knows where? But it's sad, and this is what they've brought us to.
Liberty Real Estate Services, Chris. Call me. We'll set you up.
Thanks for the call, Chris. And I wouldn't say Titanic. I would say more Eastland, because he's never even going to get out of the dock.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM 560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tom, and I'll be your server tonight. Just to let you in on some of the specials that we currently have. First is a wild-caught heart disease served on top of a bed of onset diabetes with an arthritis dressing. Second, we have our chef special. It is a sautéed obesity served 2 ways with a side of gastrointestinal issues. Anyway, can I go ahead and get you guys started with some drinks?
I don't think we're hungry anymore. Thanks, though.
At Calitrin, we don't believe in drugs or stimulants, but rather products that are powerful and connect us to the natural world. That's why Calitrin is 100% all natural and the #1 choice for healthy weight loss for over 20 years.
Hi, I'm Danny, and I'd like to say that I lost 8 pounds while I'm on Calitrin.
My name is Linda, and I've been on Calitrin now for about a year, and I've lost 48 pounds, and it's helped my arthritis, so I really recommend Calitrin.
Visit us at toploss.com or call 1-833-TOP-LOSS.
Squirrely is a hard-working squirrel that enjoys life to the fullest, eager to take on new challenges and experiences alongside Starlet, his soulmate, and the love of his life. Read Squirrely the Squirrel and Starlet and see the world through the eyes of a newborn squirrel. You'll delight in the antics of Squirrely, Starlet, and their little family. A heartwarming adventure that teaches family values. Beautifully illustrated, a great story time read. Squirrely the Squirrel and Starlet from Larry Friend, available now at litfirepublishing.com. You will fall in love with Icy the Iceberg, the new, highly original children's book from Larry Friend. Follow Icy on his incredible journey, beginning his life as a sparkling snowflake and emerging as a beautiful blue floating iceberg. Icy the Iceberg is a joy for parents and kids alike. Experience together the fun creatures Icy encounters along his journey from snowflake to iceberg and back to snowflake. Kids will learn the complexities of the water cycle in a way they'll really enjoy. Icy the Iceberg, available now at litfirepublishing.com.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
Starting Balance of Nature, I felt it the first month. I felt different. It made such a difference that now I wake up, my head feels clearer, I have more energy. Very rarely does my body cramp up anymore. It's the best thing. It's just amazing. I don't know what to say. I just would not be what I am today if I didn't start Balance of Nature.
I plan on taking this the rest of my life because until I started taking your stuff, I never took as many fruits and vegetables in a day as I get through you guys. You know, I'm very, very, very satisfied.
My pain and it went away. I swear to you that that's the truth.
When you call, use discount code CHICAGO, and we'll take 35% off your first month's order and ship it to you free. Call 800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
This is Dan Proft with 60 Seconds of Sanity for upstream-ideas.com. The main thing we learned from the 3,000-plus school walkouts that occurred and those already being planned for April 20 is who's in charge of K-12 education in America. And that should frighten you more than your average 18-year-old with a rifle or a violent video game. Those pillaging America's schools like Malcolm McDowell and his droogs in A Clockwork Orange are in charge of our schools, not attending attending them. It's zero tolerance on the one hand and tolerance of everything, including thuggery, on the other. If you're a white kid who scrawls the square root sign evoking a gun on a math assignment, then bring in Jack Bauer and put him on the clock. If you're a minority kid, say in Parkland, Florida, you can threaten to shoot up your school and no one will say anything. Under the guise of racial equity, schools are moving to remove disciplinary consequences for certain students and take discretion away from law enforcement in the process. Neither are teachers immune from the imposition of leftist orthodoxy. Just ask the California teacher put on administrative leave for hazarding a thoughtful discussion with her class about the politics of protests ahead of the walkout. With the politics being pushed on their kids, now is a good time for more parents to wake up and walk into their kids' schools for a healthy stop, look, and listen.
Hey, Radioland, Ken here from Income Store. Did you know making money is like a combination lock? If you know the numbers and the proper order of the numbers, it has to open. The lock doesn't know or care if you're 8 or 80 years old. It has to open. Making money is the same way. When you know the steps and know the right order for the steps, revenue generation has to happen. As we like to say at Income Store, if you know the steps to take and you take the steps, revenue will be created. For close to a decade, we have proved to thousands of households and businesses that adding an additional revenue stream is not magic or luck. Both Forbes and Inc. praise Income Store as a can't miss when it comes to creating revenue for a home or business. If you'd like to see exactly how anyone from a teenager with more time than money to an executive with more money than time can add a revenue stream to their home or business, just open one of the 2 entry doors you'll find at IncomeStore.com. That's IncomeStore.com.
Earnings vary based on your effort. Message and data rates may apply. Do you want to learn how to make money flipping houses right here in Chicago? If so, we have an amazing opportunity for you. We're looking for a small group of motivated individuals to join our real estate investing team. You'll learn our simple 3-step system for flipping homes right here in the local area. This is Than Merrill, star of A&E's hit TV show Flip This House. My team and I are looking for a handful of people in the Chicago area who want to learn how to make money flipping houses in your spare time using other people's money. Chicago is a perfect market for my system, and this week I'm holding a free 2-hour educational workshop where you will learn how to make money flipping homes and how to build long-term wealth with income properties.
To get 2 free tickets to Than's workshop, text RADIO to 82,000. Seating is extremely limited. Text RADIO to 82,000 right now because this free ticket offer expires this Friday. Text RADIO to 82,000. That's RADIO to 82,000.
The evidence mounts. A toddler nearly drowns and symptoms are reversed. A stroke patient regains mobility. An autistic child speaks for the first time in 14 years. A quarterback who suffered multiple concussions and memory loss has remarkable improvement. What's the connection? They all underwent hyperbaric oxygen therapy. It's approved for a variety of conditions like concussion, cerebral palsy, immune deficiency, fibromyalgia, consequences of stroke, and more. The Hyperbaric Centers of Chicago are leaders in HBOT that accelerates the body's natural healing process by breathing 100% oxygen in a total body chamber with increased atmospheric pressure. Your insurance may cover hyperbaric oxygen therapy. To learn more, call Hyperbaric Centers of Chicago in Deerfield at 847-945-HBOT or visit hbot.md 847-945-4268 or hbot.md. Hyperbaric Centers of Chicago, the hyperbaric therapy experts.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Sean, I know you don't like organized team sports, but you've got to be captivated by Loyola and their run to the Final Four.
I am. I'm excited to see the kids do well, and I do like organized sports. I love that lingerie football, the greatest sport ever created.
No, it's true. Well, that's a good example. Okay. I don't think Sister Jean will be a mascot for any lingerie football teams, but
you never know.
She is for Loyola. They arrived in San Antonio yesterday. She's her only press availability at the Final Four is Friday morning. I mean, this is how big she's gotten.
That's awesome.
But now the battle's been joined because Michigan, who of course plays Saturday evening, Michigan and Coach Beilein have Father Ben Hawley from St. Mary's on the campus of Michigan. Beilein is one of his parishioners, and he doesn't have a bobblehead doll, and he doesn't have the press profile of Sister Jean, but it is essentially Catholics versus Catholics here for a berth in the Final Four.
May the least
for a berth in the championship game.
May the least socialist parish win. How's that?
I like it.
All right.
All right.
Gotta have
Sister
fun.
Jean versus Father Ben. That's the undercard of Loyola
Taking the
versus
woman.
Michigan.
I'm taking the woman.
How can you go against a 98-year-old nun?
Well, they
No.
do. The women do celibacy better.
Okay, that's one way to look at it. Sure. I would just say, how could you go against a 98-year-old nun if you
Loyola.
want to get through those pearly gates?
I got Loyola for a cigar. Covered.
All right, very good. He is Sean from Elmwood Park. Shockingly, he will be back tomorrow sitting in for Amy.
Kristen can't find her clock.
Thank you so much for tuning in and joining us this morning. And now I turn it over to Dave.